After my rebirth, I immediately went to the telecom store and got a new phone number. In my previous life, my best friend took out loans from various platforms to fund her luxury shopping sprees, yet she never faced debt collectors, while I was bombarded with hundreds of harassing calls daily and even received photos of my front door splattered with red paint. My parents thought I'd borrowed from loan sharks and froze my bank accounts. The principal received my abusive text message and issued me a public reprimand. The guy I was seeing got a breakup text from me and has been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. My friends have been avoiding me, saying they're afraid of getting dragged into my mess. I suspected my best friend was behind it, but when I confronted her, she denied everything. In the struggle, I tumbled down the steps with my dying breath. I saw a new loan approval notification pop up on her phone, my name listed as the contact. When I opened my eyes, again, the holiday notice had just been posted and my old phone number was ringing off the hook. The phone vibrated wildly on the table, its screen flickering on and off and on. I stared at the unfamiliar number, my finger hovering over the answer button, trembling slightly. Luna, why aren't you picking up? Sabrina leaned in from behind, resting her chin familiarly on my shoulder as the scent of her shampoo wafted into my nostrils. I spun around, abruptly, nearly colliding with her face. Startled by my sudden movement, Sabrina took half a step back, a flicker of displeasure in her eyes before quickly replacing it with that cloyingly sweet smile I knew all too well. What's wrong? You look terrible. She reached up to touch my forehead, but I instinctively pulled away. I'm fine, just a bit dizzy. I lowered my head to hide my trembling fingers, catching Sabrina's subtle eye roll from my peripheral vision. My phone rang again. This time it was a number labeled courier, but I knew better. In my previous life, I'd answered countless calls like these, naively thinking they were delivery notifications at first, only to later realize they were all debt collectors. Sabrina's gaze fell on my phone, her eyes flickering. Another spam call. Why so many lately? She said, casually, reaching for my phone. Let me block them for you. No need. I practically snatched the phone back, my voice so loud it startled even myself. A few classmates in the classroom turned to look, and Sabrina's expression froze. Sorry, I've been a bit on edge lately. I forced a smile and stuffed my phone into the deepest part of my backpack. Sabrina's expression softened, and a smile returned to her face. Is it the stress from studying? Let me treat you to bubble tea after school. That new place you've been wanting to try. I nodded, pretending to organize my backpack to avoid her gaze. Back then, I naively believed Sabrina was my best friend, even feeling grateful she stood by me during those harassing phone calls. It wasn't until I tumbled down the stairs, blood clotting my vision, that I glimpsed the new message on her phone screen. Quick cash. Dear Ms. Luna, your 50,000 loan has been disbursed to your card, ending in 3472. That wasn't my bank card at all. The bell rang for the end of class, and Sabrina linked her arm through mine as we headed out, chattering away about her weekend plans. I responded mechanically. Luna, Luna. Sabrina shook my arm. Are you even listening to me? Huh. Sorry. My mind wandered. Sabrina let out a sigh and made an exaggerated expression of helplessness. Hey, let's go shopping this weekend. I need a new dress for Senior Kellen's birthday party. Kellen, That name pierced through me like a needle. In my past life, Sabrina used my phone to send Kellen a breakup text, and he gave me the silent treatment for a whole year. Sure, I heard myself say, but I need to stop by home first. My mom said she needs to talk to me about something. Sabrina wrinkled her nose. Going home again? You've been heading back there so often lately. Her tone carried clear annoyance, as if my entire world should revolve around her. As we parted at the school gate, Sabrina suddenly turned back. Oh, by the way, can I borrow your phone? Mine's dead, and I need to call my mom. My whole body went rigid. It was these seemingly harmless little requests. The repeated "Can I borrow your phone" to make a call? That led to my number being entered as a contact in various loan platforms. My phone's about to D. I pulled out my phone and saw it was indeed down to 5% battery. Why don't you go borrow a power bank from the convenience store? Sabrina's expression darkened for a moment, but she quickly smiled again. Never mind. I'll make the call when I get back to the dorm. She waved and walked away, her retreating figure looking so innocent. I stood there, watching her disappear into the crowd, before daring to pull my phone out of my backpack. The screen displayed 3 unread text messages. Flash loan MS. Luna, your loan ending in 3472 is 3 days overdue. Gold Aunt Ms. Luna. Please promptly address the loan under your name. Credit Shield Ms. Luna. Your credit limit has been increased 80.000 yuan. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. None of these loans were applied for by me, yet every single one had my name and phone number on it. Back in the dorm, I pulled out my ID card and bank cards, examining each one carefully. Luna, what are you up to? My roommate Mia pushed the door open and came in, spotting all my documents spread out on the bed before curiously moving closer, just organizing my wallet. I quickly tucked away my ID and looked up with a smile. Mia was one of the few friends from my past life who still believed in me until the very end. Unfortunately, by that time Sabrina had turned everyone against me. I was even too guarded to accept Mia's kindness. By the way, Mia said, hesitating as she sat on her bed, there's a rumor going around class that you, took out an online loan. My fingers froze. Who said that? I'm not sure either. I just heard people talking. Mia looked at me with concern. If it's true, I can lend you some money to tide you over. It's not true. I cut her off, my voice sharper than I intended. I've never taken out any online loans. Mia flinched at my tone, shrinking back slightly. I was just asking. No need to get upset. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Sorry, it's just I've been getting a lot of spam calls lately. Someone might have used my number to sign up for something. Oh, I see, Mia said, visibly relieved. Do you want to report it to the police? Report it to the police? I tried that in my past life, but the police said there was no direct evidence linking it to Sabrina. She's so cunning. All the loan documents were filed under my information, and she even used the campus public Wi-Fi for the IP address. I'll see how things go, I said, just as my phone rang. Again, this time it was a local number. I hesitated for a moment, but answered. Anyway, you're Luna, right? A gruff male voice came through. When exactly are you going to pay back the money you owe? My palms instantly grew clammy with sweat. May I ask who's speaking? Stop playing dumb. The 30.000 you borrowed from our platform has ballooned to 50,000 with interest. The man's voice rose several decibels. If you don't pay up, we're coming to your campus. Mia stared at me in horror. I forced composure into my voice. Sir, there must be some mistake. I've never taken out a loan. Cut the crap. The ID card, bank card, they're all yours, and we've even got that photo of you holding your ID. The man sneered. If you don't pay up by noon tomorrow, we're coming to your classroom. The call ended. I sat, frozen on the bed, a chill running through my entire body. A photo of me holding my ID? I've never taken anything like that. Luna, are you okay? Mia asked cautiously. I'm fine, I replied, mechanically, my mind racing. How on earth did Sabrina get a photo of me holding my ID? The debt collector's in my past life never mentioned this. My phone vibrated with a WeChat message from Sabrina. Luna, let's have lunch tomorrow. I found an amazing hot pot place tomorrow at noon. The debt collector said I have to pay back the money by noon or they'll come find me in the classroom. Meanwhile, Sabrina asked me out for lunch at noon and it's off campus. What a coincidence. I replied, sure, but I have class in the morning, so I can't make it until 12:30. Sabrina replied quickly, no worries, I'll wait for you. Don't forget to bring your phone. That place uses QR code ordering. Bring your phone. She always found some excuse to make me bring my phone. In my past life, I thought it was just coincidence, but now I realize every time she needed to register something with my number, she'd invent a reason for me to bring my phone along. I turned on my computer and searched for how to check loans under my name. The search results were alarming. It turned out that with just my ID card and phone number, I could check loan records on multiple platforms. My hands were shaking so much I could barely type my information correctly. The first platform showed no records and I breathed a sigh of relief. The second platform was no different. Then came the third platform, Gold, and Ms. Luna. Your current outstanding balance, 47.800. My vision went black. 47.000. And that's just from one platform. In my previous life, I never even found out how much Sabrina had borrowed in my name before I died. Moving on to the next one. The fourth platform shows two loans totaling 62.000. 35.000 from the fifth platform. The total has already exceeded 150.000. I slumped in the chair, my back soaked with cold sweat. It's only been 2 months since the semester started and Sabrina has already borrowed this much in my name. How much debt did I carry from my past life? The red paint splattered on my front door, the threatening calls in the dead of night, the relationships torn apart. My phone rang again. It was Sabrina. Hey, could you lend me some money for shopping this weekend? I found a dress I love, but my allowance hasn't come through yet. Staring at the message, something suddenly clicked. Sabrina took out loans in my name, using some to pay off old debts and squandering the rest on herself. And I was the scapegoat she had carefully chosen. I'm a bit strapped for cash myself lately, I replied, then added, how about we go to a more budget-friendly mall instead? Sabrina sent back a disappointed emoji. Never mind then. I'll just wait until next month to buy it. I can almost picture her expression right now, pursing her lips, rolling her eyes. silently cursing me for being stingy. In my past life, I always tried my best to meet her demands, terrified of losing this best friend. Now I realize this friendship was fake. From the very beginning, I barely paid attention in class the next morning, checking my phone every few minutes. At 11:45, the bell rang for the end of class, and I packed my bag much more slowly than usual. Luna, the professor called out to me, "Could you stay for a moment? It's about your midterm paper." My heart sank. "Right now. Just 5 minutes." The professor said kindly, "I noticed your paper's direction shows real potential, and I'd like to offer some suggestions." I glanced at my phone. 11:50, the debt collector said they'd come find me in the classroom at noon, while Sabrina asked to meet me off campus at 12:30. If I stay here now, all right, I nodded, deliberately slowing my pace to walk behind the professor. At 11:55, we arrived outside the professor's office. A commotion echoed from the end of the hallway as several men in black T-shirts strode forward, the one leading them clutching a piece of paper. "Which classroom is Luna in?" he growled at a passing student. My blood ran cold. They actually showed up, and they're early. The professor frowned at the group. "Who are you looking for?" The man in front waved a paper in his hand. "Luna, a sophomore in the economics college. She owes money and won't pay it back. We're here to have a chat with her." Right there on the paper were my photo and student ID information. "This is an academic area. Please leave now," the professor said sternly, his face darkening, "or I'll call security." "Go ahead." The man raised his voice. "Paying back what you owe is only right. She borrowed 50,000 from us and won't pay up. We're here to make sure the whole school knows what kind of person she is." A crowd of students had already gathered to watch the commotion. Some began whispering among themselves, while others pulled out their phones to take pictures. "Isn't that Luna from the economics department? Oh my God, she took out a loan from loan sharks. She always seemed so quiet and reserved. Who would have thought?" I stood behind the professor, trembling from head to toe. The same thing happened in my past life. Debt collectors caused a scene at the school, and my reputation was completely ruined. Back then, I had no idea what was happening. All I could do was weep and deny the accusations, but I couldn't produce any evidence to prove my innocence. "Luna," the professor turned to me and asked softly, "Do you know these people?" I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could utter a word, a familiar voice emerged from the crowd. "Luna, what's going on?" Sabrina pushed through the crowd and rushed to my side with a look of concern, linking her arm with mine. "Who are these people? Why are they looking for you?" Her performance was flawless, her brow slightly furrowed, her eyes glistening, her voice tinged with just the right amount of panic. If I hadn't been reborn, I would never have doubted this best friend who seemed to be standing up for me. The debt collector's eyes flickered when he saw Sabrina. That subtle expression didn't escape my notice. They knew her. "So, you're Luna?" The lead man turned to me, shaking the loan agreement in his hand with what appeared to be my signature forged. "Of course, I've never borrowed any money," I said softly but distinctly. "That signature is fake. We can call the police to verify the handwriting." The man froze for a moment, clearly taken aback by my composure. In my past life, I would only fluster and deny it, which made me look all the more guilty. Enough with the excuses. The ID card, the bank card, they're all yours. And here's a photo of you holding your ID. The man raised his voice, turning to the students watching. Take a good look. Everyone, this is a student from your school. Borrows money and tries to weasel out of paying it back. Sabrina jumped in just in time to defend me. You must have the wrong person. Luna isn't like that. She turned to me, a slight glint in her eyes. Luna, could it be that someone stole your identity? She was guiding my responses. In my previous life, I went along with her suggestion and admitted it might be identity theft, but that only made the debt collector more convinced I was the borrower, because only the actual borrower would say that it wasn't theft. I said, looking the debt collector straight in the eye. Someone intentionally used my identity to take out that loan. I've gathered evidence, and I'm preparing to file a police report. Sabrina's grip tightened on my arm, her nails digging into my flesh. The debt collectors exchanged glances, and the leader sneered. Fine, we'll wait for the police to see who's really lying. The professor finally lost his patience. Enough. I've called security. Leave immediately. As for the issue with student Luna, the school will investigate thoroughly. After security arrived, the debt collectors left, grumbling and cursing, threatening to return as they went. The crowd of students gradually dispersed, but the hushed whispers and judgmental stares lingered. Luna, the professor said to me with a serious expression, what on earth is going on here? Someone used my identity to take out loans, I said, pulling up the loan records on my phone. I never applied for any of these, and the signatures are forged. After examining the records carefully, the professor frowned deeply. This is very serious. I suggest you report it to the police immediately and also inform the campus security office. I will. I nodded, catching sight of Sabrina's face turning pale out of the corner of my eye. Luna. Sabrina grabbed my arm the moment we stepped out of the building, her voice unnaturally cheerful. Those people were terrifying. Let's go get something to eat and just forget about all this. Seeing her trying so hard to act composed suddenly made me want to laugh. Just like in my past life, every time the debt collectors caused a scene, she'd drag me out to eat or go shopping, under the guise of cheering me up, all to distract me and stop me from calling the police or looking into things. I'm not hungry. I pull my arm back. I'm going to report this to campus security. Sabrina's expression froze. Right now. There's no need to rush like this, is there? It's urgent, I said, locking eyes with her. Someone borrowed over 100,000 in my name. I can't afford to delay any longer. Over 100,000? Sabrina's voice shot up. How do you know the exact amount? My heart skipped a beat. I'd let it slip. Logically speaking, I just found out about the identity theft loan, so I shouldn't know the exact amount. The guy just mentioned it. I feigned innocence. He said I borrowed 50,000, and with interest, I'd have to pay back even more. Sabrina visibly relaxed. Oh, right. I was too nervous and didn't catch that. She linked arms with me. Again, let me go with you to the security office. Dealing with this alone is just too scary. I almost felt like giving her a round of applause for that performance. Come with me to the security office. She's definitely trying to keep an eye on me, making sure I don't spill anything that could damage her reputation. Sure, I said with a faint smile of gratitude. It's really nice to have you with me. On our way to the security office, Sabrina kept probing me about what I planned to say. I gave evasive answers, and her face clearly showed unease. The security officer's expression grew, increasingly stern as they listened to my account. Miss Luna, are you certain none of these loan applications were submitted by you? Definitely. I produced my ID card and student ID. I suspect someone has forged my documents. The teacher took the documents and examined them carefully. Has anyone borrowed your ID recently, or have you lost any of your documents? Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Sabrina fidgeting nervously. So, I deliberately said, no, I always keep my documents with me. That's strange. The teacher frowned. These loan platforms all require real name verification, and some even need facial recognition. If it wasn't you, how did the other party manage to pass facial recognition? The term struck me like a bolt of lightning. The debt collectors in my past life had mentioned photos, holding ID cards, but never explained how they obtained them. Now it dawned on me. Sabrina must have acquired my biometric data somehow. Professor, a sudden thought occurred to me. Doesn't our school libraries' electronic reading room require both ID card and facial recognition to log in? Yes, to keep track of user information. The professor nodded, then immediately grasped my implication. You're suggesting I often go to the electronic reading room with classmates. I shot a meaningful glance at Sabrina. Sometimes I hand my ID card to friends to help with login. Sabrina shot to her feet. Luna, what are you implying? Are you suspecting me? Her reaction was so intense that even the security teacher gave her a puzzled look. I didn't say it was you, I replied calmly. I'm just stating the facts. Luna, the teacher said gravely, if what you say is true, and someone has used your identity to take out loans, that constitutes a crime. I suggest you report this to the police immediately and contact these lending platforms to explain the situation. I will. I nodded, pulling out my phone to take photos of the security department's incident report for documentation. Sabrina stood nearby, her expression shifting unpredictably. After we left the security office, she suddenly grabbed my wrist with a surprisingly strong grip. What exactly are you trying to do? She whispered, the sweet facade on her face finally cracking. Call the police. Do you really think they'd bother with something this trivial? I pulled my hand free. A debt of over 100.000 yuan is anything but trivial to me. Those platforms are illegal. The police won't even file a case. Sabrina nearly shouted, then caught herself and forced her anger down. I'm saying this for your own good. Reporting it to the police will only make things worse. It won't help you at all. Oh, really? I sneered. Then what do you suggest I do? Keep answering those debt collection calls. Wait for them to show up at school again? Or maybe I took a step closer. Quietly pay off someone else's debt, just like you wanted. Sabrina's face instantly went pale. You know, I know far more than you could ever imagine. I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there trembling. Back in my dorm room, I locked the door and began systematically gathering evidence, memories from right before my death in my previous life gave me direction. Sabrina had not only used my phone, number, and ID card, but had also linked them to my bank account. I logged into my online banking to check the account details. Sure enough, there were several Small deposits I had no recollection of, all from various online lending platforms, ranging from a few hundred to a few thousand yuan, which were quickly transferred out after hitting the account, the last few digits of the recipient's account number. I scrolled through my phone contacts and found Sabrina's number. She once asked me to top up her phone credit, so I'd saved her bank card details. The last digits matched perfectly. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold my phone. The evidence was undeniable. Sabrina had borrowed money in my name, but the funds went straight into her account. Just as I was about to screenshot the evidence, a WeChat notification suddenly popped up on my phone. It was from the class group chat. Someone had it mention me. I clicked it open and saw a screenshot, a photo of me with the debt collector in front of the academic building, captioned, "Luna from the economics department took out a loan and won't pay it back. The debt collectors have come to campus. Everyone be careful." The group chat instantly exploded. Oh my God, is this for real? With the photo right here. How could it be fake? He always seemed so decent. I heard she even used nude photos as collateral. Seriously, that's disgusting. I stared at the screen, my blood running cold. Nude photos? This is completely fabricated. In my past life, I was falsely accused of taking out loans, but no one ever mentioned anything about nude photos. The situation is taking a more malicious turn. Message notifications kept chiming as more classmates joined the discussion, and someone started at ing, me demanding an explanation. My fingers trembled as I tried to reply, only to find I'd been removed from the group chat. My phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. A woman's shrill voice screamed through the receiver. "You, how dare you act all innocent after taking out nude loans? Kellen must have been blind to fall for someone like you." The call ended, and then several unknown numbers called in quick succession, all with the same kind of messages, nothing but insults and accusations. My social media accounts started getting vicious private messages, too. Someone even found out my dorm room number and was shouting downstairs, "Get out of the dorm, you nude lone girl." Mia rushed in, panicked. "Luna, there are so many people downstairs. They're saying you." I stood by the window, watching the crowd gathering below, and a chill ran through my whole body. This feels all too familiar. I went through similar bullying in my past life, though the accusations weren't as vicious as nude loan blackmail. Who started these rumors? Could it be Sabrina? But she just tried to stop me from calling the police. Doesn't seem like she'd turn on me so quickly. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Sabrina. "Luna, I just saw the group chat. Are you okay?" Her voice sounded so genuine, brimming with concern. If I didn't already know her true colors, I might have believed she actually cared. "I'm fine," I replied mechanically. "Those rumors are absolutely vile." Sabrina fumed. I tried to explain on your behalf, but no one would listen. "Where are you now? Let me come keep you company." "No need. I just need some time alone." "Well, all right then." Sabrina sounded almost relieved. "Just reach out whenever you need me. You'll always be my best friend." I hung up the phone with a cold laugh. "My best friend? You said the same thing in our past life, right before you pushed me down the stairs yourself." The commotion downstairs grew louder as the dorm supervisor began dispersing the crowd. Sitting on the edge of my bed, watching the flood of abusive messages on my phone, It suddenly hit me. Sabrina wasn't the only one trying to ruin me. Some people are taking advantage of the chaos to spread even more vicious rumors. And this person is likely hiding among those seemingly righteous crusaders. The crowd downstairs didn't disperse until late at night. I drew the curtains and curled up in bed, my phone still vibrating incessantly, all from abusive texts sent by unknown numbers. Mia sat across from me, hesitating before she spoke. Luna, I know you're not that kind of person. I looked up at her, my throat tight. Thank you. But she twisted her fingers nervously. What about that photo in the group chat? Why were those people looking for you? I opened my phone's gallery and showed her the police report I'd filed at the security office that morning. Someone stole my identity to take out loans. The debt collectors got the wrong person. Mia examined the photo carefully, her furrowed brow gradually smoothing. I knew it. You normally won't even splurge on expensive bubble. There's no way you'd take out a loan shark. Her trust made my eyes grow warm. In my past life at this point, Sabrina had already led me around by the nose. I didn't even have the courage to explain myself. Mia, could you do me a favor? I took a deep breath. Could you find out who first posted that photo in the group chat? Mia nodded and immediately pulled out her phone to contact her friends. Meanwhile, I logged into the campus forum. Sure enough, the post titled Economics Major Girl Takes Out Nude Loans was trending, with the comment section flooded with vulgar remarks. She looks so innocent, but she's actually filthy behind the scenes. I heard she's seeing multiple sugar daddies at the same time. Someone like that doesn't belong in our school. My hands trembled so badly I could barely hold my phone, though I'd been slandered in my past life, too. The vicious rumor about nude loan sharks was a new addition. Who's behind all this? Mia suddenly exclaimed. Found it. The photo was posted by Aurelia. Aurelia? I frowned, trying to recall. She was from the class next door, always hanging around Sabrina. In my past life, she was the one who started ostracizing me. She even told others her source was absolutely reliable. Mia said with a scoff, putting on such a convincing act. Aurelia and Sabrina, this couldn't be a coincidence. Just as I was about to press for more details, our dorm room door suddenly swung open with a knock. Who is it? Mia asked. It's me, Sabrina, came a voice feigning concern. From outside the door. Is Luna there? I'm worried about her. Mia and I exchanged a look. Mia stood up to open the door, and Sabrina immediately rushed in, throwing her arms around me. Luna, are you okay? I was so furious when I saw those messages. Her heavy perfume was making me dizzy. I stood rigidly in her embrace, catching a glimpse of her lit phone screen, still open to her chat with Aurelia. I'm fine, I said, pushing her away. Just tired. Sabrina sat on my bed, indignantly denouncing the rumor mongers. With Oscar-worthy acting, had I not been reborn, I would never have seen through this mask. By the way, she suddenly lowered her voice. You haven't been saying anything to others, have you, about those loans? My heart skipped a beat. She was testing me. No, I lowered my eyes. Just like you said, going to the police is useless. Sabrina visibly relaxed, wrapping an arm around my shoulder affectionately. That's more like it. The more you try to explain this kind of thing, the worse it gets. Just let it blow over. Let it blow over. So you can keep borrowing money in my name? Fighting back nausea. I nodded. Now, that's my best friend. Sabrina beamed. I'll go to class with you tomorrow. Let's see who dares to gossip. After she left, Mia closed the door and whispered, There's something off about her. She seemed unusually concerned about whether you called the police. I let out a bitter smile. How could I not have seen it in my past life? Every word of Sabrina's concern was leading me deeper into her trap. The next morning, Sabrina was indeed waiting downstairs at the dormitory. As soon as she saw me, she linked her arm with mine and deliberately raised her voice. Luna, just ignore those boring people. Students passing by turned to stare, some pointing fingers while others pulled out their phones to take pictures. Sabrina straightened her back, beaming with pride as if she were walking the red carpet in front of the academic building. The crowd suddenly grew restless. A group of girls blocked the entrance, with Aurelia at the forefront. How dare a nude lone girl show up for class? Aurelia sneered loudly. Aren't you afraid of tainting the classroom? Laughter erupted from the crowd. Sabrina immediately stepped forward defiantly. Aurelia, how dare you spread lies? Luna's identity was stolen. Oh, getting your little friend to cover for you. Aurelia sneered. Where's your proof? I clenched my fists. The security department's incident report was right there on my phone, but releasing it would only tip off Sabrina. Just as I hesitated, a cool male voice came from behind me. What evidence do you need? Everyone turned around at the same time. Senior Kellen stood on the steps, his white shirt billowing slightly in the morning breeze, the sunlight casting a golden outline around his silhouette. As senior, Aurelia's face instantly paled, her voice softening noticeably. Kellen ignored her and walked straight up to me. Luna, the professor wants to discuss your paper with you. I froze. The professor hadn't scheduled any meeting with me. Kellen gave an almost imperceptible blink, and I immediately caught on. All right, I'll head over right away. Under the astonished gazes of everyone, Kellen escorted me out. Once we rounded the corner and confirmed no one was following, he stopped. Are you okay? Just 3 simple words, but they made my nose sting with emotion. In my past life at this time, Kellen had already received the breakup text I sent and never spoke to me again. I'm fine, I said with a forced smile. Thanks for having my back, Kellen. Kellen fell silent for a moment. Those rumors. Need any help? I looked up at him. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows across his face. His gaze was clear, devoid of suspicion or pity, holding only genuine concern. Well, I hesitated about whether to tell him the truth when my phone suddenly rang. It was a bank notification. Another loan had been deposited and immediately transferred out. Kellen caught a glimpse of the screen and furrowed his brow slightly. I quickly locked my screen, but he asked softly, Has someone stolen your identity? I froze. How did he see right through me? We've been seeing a lot of these cases lately, Kellen said calmly. If you need legal assistance, feel free to reach out. My father is a lawyer. I was at a loss for words. Thank you. Those were the only 2 words I managed to force out. Don't carry this alone. Kellen handed me a business card. Call me anytime you need to talk. Watching his figure disappear down the hallway, I clutched the card tightly, feeling something shift deep inside me. Maybe this time I wouldn't have to face my battles alone. In a quiet corner of the library, I opened my new notebook and began systematically organizing the evidence. Page 1. Bank statements. I circled all. Suspicious deposits and transfers in red. Ink. Noting dates and amounts beside them. In less than 2 months, Sabrina had borrowed nearly 200,000 under my name. Page 2. Loan platform details. I listed all the platform names, loan amounts, and repayment deadlines I could find. Some platforms charged terrifyingly high interest rates with compound interest. The debt could double in under 6 months. Page 3. Forged signature. Comparison. I cut out my genuine signature from an old assignment and pasted it side by side with the signature on the loan contract provided by debt collectors. The difference was visible to the naked eye. The tail of my always curves upward, while the forged version slants downward. Page 4. The pen suddenly stopped. This evidence is enough to prove my identity was stolen. But how do I prove Sabrina did it? The bank transfer records only show the money went to an account ending in 3472. Unless I can prove this account belongs to Sabrina, I opened my mobile banking app and entered Sabrina's phone number to attempt to transfer. The system showed an account name ending with asterisk, which matched the last digits of her bank card. But that wasn't enough. I needed more concrete evidence. Just as I was pondering this, my phone vibrated. It was Sabrina. Luna, where are you? Let's grab lunch. I glanced at my watch. 12:15 p.m. In my previous life, she always scheduled lunch with me around this time because debt collection calls peaked in the morning. By the time I returned from lunch, my phone had died from all the spam calls, so I naturally missed the loan confirmation text. I'm in the library, coming right down, I replied, while activating my phone's voice recorder and slipping it into my shirt pocket. Sabrina was waiting at the library entrance and immediately complained when she saw me. Why are you always held up in the library? Don't pay any mind to those ridiculous rumors. Whom? I nodded, deliberately letting my phone slip from my pocket. Oops. Sabrina bent down to pick up my phone, and as the screen lit up, it remained on the banking SMS page. Her gaze faltered for a split second before she handed it back to me casually. Let's go. I'm starving. During the meal, Sabrina was unusually attentive, constantly serving me more food. Eat up. You've gotten so thin. I kept my head down while eating, watching her every move out of the corner of my, just as I suspected. She quickly picked up my phone the moment I went to the restroom. Through the bathroom mirror, I saw her quickly tapping away at something. When I returned, Sabrina had already put the phone back in its place and was casually scrolling through her own phone as if nothing had happened. I picked up the phone to check. The latest message was a spam text, but she must have deleted something. By the way, Luna, Sabrina suddenly looked up. What did the security office say about that report you filed? The recording equipment was silently running. I shook my head with feigned frustration. It's no use. They said there's insufficient evidence. Sabrina's eyes lit up before she put on a sympathetic expression. See, I told you, with these kinds of things, you just have to accept your losses. But I bit my lip. The debt collectors claimed to have a photo of me holding my ID card. I have no idea how they got it. Sabrina's fingers trembled slightly. See, could it be photoshopped? No. I shook my head. The security office said the photos were taken in the library's computer lab. Sabrina's chopsticks clattered onto the table. She hastily picked them up, forcing a smile. TSK, then someone must have taken them secretly. I stared into her eyes. Who do you think it could be? How should I know? Sabrina's voice suddenly rose, drawing sideways glances from people around us. She lowered her voice. Maybe it's those lone platform people. They specialize in stealing student information. Maybe. I lowered my head and continued eating, not pressing further. If I pushed any harder, she'd get suspicious. On the way back to the dorm, Sabrina suddenly said, Luna, my phone's dead. Can I borrow yours to make a call? Here we go again. I pretended to hesitate. My phone's almost out of battery. Just 1 minute. Sabrina pleaded in a coquettish tone. It's really urgent. All right. I unlocked my phone and handed it to her, watching as she walked a few steps away to make a call. Little did she know, I had already enabled automatic call recording, so every move she made would be captured. Sabrina pretended to dial a number, waited a few seconds, and said, Hello, it's me. She then quickly switched to a loan app, enter my phone number, and obtained the verification code. Little did she know, I had already set up SMS syncing on the new phone, so all verification codes were instantly forwarded to my tablet. In under 3 minutes, my tablet received 5 verification codes from different loan platforms. When Sabrina returned, she couldn't hide the smug look on her face. Thanks. Here's your phone back. I took the phone, pretending not to notice what she'd just done. The fish has taken the bait, but it's not yet time to reel it in. That night, I logged into all the lending platforms where I had received verification codes, used those codes to reset the passwords, and downloaded the complete loan agreements. Sure enough, every single photo holding ID card on the contracts was taken in the library's computer room. Sabrina had asked me to hold up my ID to the camera under the pretense of helping me log in, but she was actually taking screenshots to save them. What shocked me even more was that, besides me, there were 3 other classmates in Sabrina's contacts whose numbers had lending platform names noted next to them. I wasn't the only one she hurt. When I played the recording, I could clearly hear Sabrina operating my phone and muttering things like, This platform offers higher credit limits. The evidence is undeniable, but it's still not enough. I need concrete evidence of her committing the crime, preferably surveillance footage of her using my ID again. The next day, I deliberately mentioned in front of Sabrina, the electronic reading room has a new administrator who's really strict. They insist on seeing your actual ID before letting you in. Sabrina immediately became nervous. Really? When did this happen? Yesterday, I said casually. Apparently, it's because someone was stealing identities. So the school is tightening security. Sabrina turned pale and hastily made an excuse to leave. I knew she would rush to the electronic reading room before the new administrator took over to use my ID card for her business. I waited in advance in the study area opposite the electronic reading room with my camera set to video mode. At 3 p.m., Sabrina appeared as expected, glanced around furtively, and then headed toward the computer in the farthest corner. She pulled out 2 ID cards. One was hers, and the other, though I couldn't see it clearly, it was definitely mine. Holding my breath, I recorded the entire process of her using my ID to log in. After Sabrina left, I immediately went to the security office to report my lost ID and requested to review the surveillance footage. The security staff pulled up the recording, and the footage clearly showed Sabrina using my ID. The teacher stared at me in disbelief. Do you know this girl? I lowered my gaze. She's my best friend. The teacher sighed and shook his head, then made copies of the surveillance footage stills for me. Before I left, he reminded me, this evidence is enough to file a case. What do you plan to do? Just wait a little longer, I said, softly. I want to give her a chance to change her ways. That was a lie. I wasn't waiting for Sabrina to repent. I was waiting for her to strike again so I could expose her true colors in front of everyone. In our past life, she ruined my reputation and destroyed me. In this life, I'll make sure she reaps what she sows. Aurelia posted another expose about me in the class group chat, claiming I rented a luxury apartment off campus specifically to entertain sugar daddies. Pics, or it didn't happen, she added, attaching a blurry photo of a girl's back that made it impossible to tell who it was. The group chat erupted again, with all sorts of unsavory speculations popping up left and right. I quietly took screenshots to save as evidence of Aurelia's defamation. Mia was so furious. She was stomping her feet. How dare she slander you like that? Should I give her a piece of my mind? No need. I shook my head calmly. Let her keep performing. In my past life, I was crushed by these rumors. The more I tried to explain, the worse it got. This time around, I've learned my lesson. Instead of arguing, it's better to let the rumor monger expose themselves. Sure enough, seeing that I didn't react at all, Aurelia doubled down. Before afternoon class, she deliberately announced loudly in the hallway, some people act all high and mighty, but behind the scenes, before she could finish, Kellen suddenly appeared at the classroom door. Aurelia immediately shut her mouth, switching to a sweet smile as if flipping a switch. Senior Kellen, what brings you here? Kellen didn't even glance at her, walking straight toward me. Luna, the student council has an event that needs the economics department's help. Can we talk? Amidst the astonished gazes of everyone, I followed Kellen out. When we reached a secluded spot, he handed me a USB drive. What you asked for. I took it, puzzled. What's this? The complete library surveillance footage. Kellen said softly, I saw you gathering evidence. My heart jolted. How could you possibly know? As if reading my mind, Kellen explained, my cousin works part-time at the library. After you filmed the surveillance footage that day, Sabrina went to him to delete the records. He had the foresight to make a backup. Thank you. I clenched the USB drive, my throat tightening. But this might get your cousin into trouble. He'll be fine. A sharp glint flashed in Kellen's eyes. More importantly, when are you planning to expose her? I looked up in surprise. So he knew everything. Let's wait a bit longer, I whispered. Sabrina's been on high alert lately. I need her to strike again. Kellen nodded thoughtfully. Just let me know if you need any help. Back in the classroom, Sabrina immediately leaned in. What did the senior want with you? Her tone was dripping with jealousy. Just some student council stuff, I said, casually, changing the subject. By the way, are you still going to Kellen's birthday party this weekend? Sabrina's eyes lit up. Of course. I even bought a new dress for it. She paused, lowering her voice. But I'm a bit short on cash right now. Could you lend me some money for a gift? I'm pretty broke myself lately, I said with an awkward expression. Those debt collectors keep. Sabrina pursed her lips. Then suddenly, Her eyes lit up. Wait, you could get a new phone number. Then the debt collectors won't be able to find you. My heart skipped a beat. This was exactly how it all started in my previous life. I changed my number, but Sabrina accidentally left my old one on various loan platforms. Great idea. I pretended to have a sudden realization. I'll go take care of that tomorrow. Sabrina beamed with an especially radiant smile. I'll go with you. I know my way around the service center. I knew exactly why she was being so helpful. She wanted to make sure she got my new number to continue her schemes. That evening, I logged into the student portal and looked up Sabrina and Aurelia's class schedules. Sure enough, neither of them had classes tomorrow morning while I had a major related course. In my previous life, Sabrina took advantage of my class time to register for more loan platforms using my old number. This time around, Eve prepared a little surprise for her. The next morning, I took out my SIM card right in front of Sabrina, snapped it in half, and declared, I'm done with this old number. Sabrina's eyes widened in shock. Why are you doing this now? I'll have to replace it sooner or later anyway. I shrugged, saving the new number to my contacts. Here's my new number. Keep it to yourself. Sabrina nodded eagerly, a greedy glint in her eyes. I pretended not to notice and headed to class with my backpack. In reality, I never actually snapped the SIM card. It was just a useless one I'd prepared in advance. My old number is still in my phone. I just have the caller ID hidden. Sure enough, just 10 minutes into class, the old number started buzzing like crazy. I discreetly checked it, and it was all verification codes from various loan platforms. Sabrina was using my old number to frantically sign up for things, using a bathroom break as an excuse. I sent a message to campus security. Someone is in the library's electronic reading room using my identity to apply for loans. Please send someone immediately. Then I sent the same message to Kellen, adding, if possible, bring a few student council members with you. Back in the classroom, I waited on edge. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a photo from security. Sabrina had been caught red-handed and was tearfully pleading with the administrator. In the background of the photo, Kellen and several student council members stood by with stern expressions. The show's about to begin. The moment the bell rang, I bolted straight to the library. From a distance, I spotted a crowd gathered outside the computer lab. Sabrina's sobbing, faintly carrying through the air. I didn't mean to. Luna made me help her borrow the money. I stopped in my tracks and hid around the corner to observe. The security officer demanded sharply, how did you end up with Luna's ID card? She lent it to me. Sabrina sobbed. She said her credit was bad and asked me to take out loans for her. Kellen sneered. Oh, really? Then why does the surveillance footage show you using her ID last week? 2. Sabrina froze, clearly caught off guard that her actions had been recorded all along. Seizing the moment, I took a deep breath and strode toward the crowd. What's going on here? Everyone turned in unison. When Sabrina saw me, a flicker of panic crossed her eyes before she rushed over and grabbed my hand. Luna, tell them it was you who asked me to borrow the money for you. I feigned confusion. Borrow money? I've never borrowed any money. You. Sabrina's face instantly turned deathly pale. But you clearly, sir. I turned to the security officer. I lost my ID card a week ago and was just about to get a replacement. Sabrina recoiled as if struck by lightning, releasing my hand and stumbling back several steps. You set me up. Set you up? I took out my phone and played the video I'd recorded last night. Sabrina, boasting triumphantly to Aurelia, that idiot Luna. I took out over 200,000 in her name, and she's still counting the money for me. In the video, Aurelia asked with a laugh, "Aren't you afraid she'll find out?" Sabrina waved her hand dismissively. So what if she does? With her spineless personality, she'll just hide away and cry. As the video ended, the room fell into dead silence. Sabrina turned ashen, while Aurelia quietly tried to slip behind the crowd. And there's more, I said, opening my photo album to show the recording of Sabrina using my phone to take out loans. I've already submitted all this evidence to the police. Sabrina let out a sudden shriek and lunged at me. You set me up. Kellen stepped in front of me in a flash, grabbing Sabrina's wrist. Enough, the security officer said sternly. Sabrina, please come with us to the security office. The police will be here shortly. As Sabrina was led away, she shot me a look filled with pure venom. But I was no longer afraid. The nightmare from my past life had finally come to an end. After the crowd dispersed, Kellen asked softly, "Are you okay?" I nodded, suddenly noticing my hands were trembling. 3 months of endurance, pretense, and scheming had finally paid off. "Thank you," I said, sincerely. "I wouldn't have managed this smoothly without your help." Kellen shook his head. "You were strong enough on your own." He hesitated for a moment. "Those rumors. Do you need me to help clear them up?" "No need." I watched Sabrina and Aurelia being led away in the distance. The truth will come out. News of Sabrina being taken away by the police spread through the campus like wildfire. As I walked to the classroom building, I could feel eyes on me from all directions, some curious, some suspicious, and others openly hostile. "That's her, the one who turned her best friend over to the police. I heard she borrowed over 200,000. Who knows if it's true? Sabrina is usually so nice. She might have been framed." The whispers kept worming their way into my ears. I tightened my grip on the backpack straps and quickened my pace. That familiar sting of isolation from my past life returned, but this time I held the truth in my hands. Aurelia and a few other girls were blocking the classroom entrance. Noticing my approach, Aurelia deliberately raised her voice. Some people put on a righteous front, but who knows how shady they really are behind the scenes? I stopped in my tracks and met her gaze directly. "Aurelia, the police will probably want a statement from you soon. After all, your chat history with Sabrina has quite a few interesting details." Aurelia's face instantly turned pale. What nonsense are you talking about?" I ignored her and walked straight into the classroom. Aurelia's furious voice came from behind me. "Luna, don't get too cocky just yet. The first class was microeconomics, and the professor was explaining market failure." I tried to force myself to focus, but my phone kept buzzing relentlessly. All the notifications were loan repayment reminders from various lending platforms. Even though Sabrina got arrested, the debt she took out in my name didn't just magically disappear. As soon as the class ended and the professor left, my academic advisor appeared at the classroom door. "Luna, could you come to the office for a moment?" Inside the office sat 2 police officers in uniform. The older officer stood up and said, "Luna, we need to verify some Details regarding the case of Sabrina, using your identity to take out loans. I nodded and took a seat across from them. According to Sabrina's statement, the officer opened his notebook. She started using your identity last year and borrowed a total of 237,000 yuan from 17 different platforms. My heart sank. That was even more than I had known. 12 of these loans were processed through your bank card. The officer slid a form across the table. Do any of these look familiar? The form detailed the date, amount, and receiving account for each transaction. I studied it carefully, pointing at several entries. I had no knowledge of these transactions, and the account ending in 3472 isn't mine. It belongs to Sabrina. The young officer raised an eyebrow. How can you be sure it's Sabrina's account? She once asked me to top up her phone credit, so I saved her bank card number. I took out my phone and pulled up the transfer record. It's these last 4 digits. The two officers exchanged a look. The older officer continued, Sabrina claims you were aware and consented to her using your personal information to take out loans. What's your response to that? I almost laughed out loud. Even now, Sabrina was still clutching at straws. If I had actually consented, why would I bother gathering evidence to report her? I retorted, opening my phone's photo gallery. Here's the surveillance footage of Sabrina using my ID card at the library. This is the audio recording of her operating loan apps on my phone. And these are the chat records where she's bragging to Aurelia. The police examined all the evidence carefully. The older officer nodded and said, the chain of evidence is quite solid. However, he hesitated briefly before continuing, these debts are still under your name for now. You'll need to file appeals with each platform personally to get them revoked. My heart sank. Will the process be complicated? I'm afraid so. The officer sighed. Each platform has different requirements. Some will need a police report. Others might require handwriting analysis. And some may even require going through legal proceedings. My steps felt heavier leaving the office than when I arrived. Sabrina's arrest was just the first step. Cleaning up the mess she left behind was the real challenge. Outside the academic building, Kellen was leaning against a plane tree, seemingly waiting for someone. When he saw me emerge, he straightened up and asked, did everything go smoothly? Sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves, casting dappled light on him and outlining his slender frame. For a fleeting moment, I felt disoriented. In my past life, I wouldn't have dared to dream that Kellen would voluntarily wait for me. Sabrina admitted to identity theft, but the debts are still under my name, I said wearily. I'll have to file appeals with each platform one by one. Kellen furrowed his brow. I'll go with you. Those first simple words made my eyes sting. Memories of being completely alone in my past life were still vivid. Yet, here was someone willingly offering help. No need. I don't want to trouble you. I instinctively declined, accustomed to bearing everything alone. But Kellen insisted. My father is a lawyer, so I'm quite familiar with this area. He paused, and it's too dangerous to go alone. I looked up at him and noticed an unusual seriousness in his eyes. In my previous life, I never had the chance to discover that Kellen was this kind of person. Gentle yet resolute, rational yet nuanced. Well, thank you. I finally nodded. We agreed to visit the first lending platform together over the weekend. Before parting ways, Kellen suddenly Asked, do those rumors still bother you? I gave a wry smile. Ive goten. Used to it, after being criticized for a whole year in my past life. What's this? Compared to that? Kellen fell silent for a moment, then suddenly pulled out his phone and tapped a few times. My phone immediately vibrated with a notification from the class group chat. Kellen had sent a lengthy message. I need to clarify a few things regarding the false rumors about our classmate Luna. First, the so-called naked loan allegation is completely fabricated. The police have confirmed it was Sabrina who stole Luna's identity to take out the loan. Second, spreading such rumors constitutes defamation, and you will face legal consequences. Third, I personally vouch for Luna's integrity. In my capacity as student council vice president, the group chat instantly fell silent. I looked up in surprise, but Kellen had already put away his phone. Let's go. I'll walk you back to the dorm. His figure looked particularly tall and straight against the sunlight. I jogged a few steps to catch up, feeling something shift inside me. So this is what it feels like to be trusted unconditionally. On Saturday morning, I waited for Kellen at the school gate. He pulled up in front of me in an understated grey sedan, and the passenger door automatically opened. Get in, he said, leaning slightly forward. The first platform is on Financial Street, about a 40-minute drive. The car interior was filled with a subtle scent of cedar, and the seats were so comfortable they made you relax. I fastened my seatbelt and stole a glance at Kellen's profile. His high nose bridge, well-defined jawline, and eyelashes that were almost translucent in the sunlight. Nervous? He asked abruptly, his gaze still fixed ahead. I averted my eyes a little, not sure what kind of trouble they'll give us. Kellen chuckled. Don't worry. Worst case scenario, we just sue them. He said it as casually as if discussing what to have for lunch. The financial district was packed with skyscrapers, and it took us a long time to finally locate the quick cash company in an old office building. As I pushed open the glass door, the pungent smell of cigarette smoke and the clamor of ringing phones hit me all at once. A dozen collectors were on the phone, hounding people for payments with crude, aggressive language. The receptionist lifted her eyes lazily. What do you want? I'm here to dispute a debt, I said, handing over my ID and the police report. Someone used my identity to take out a loan. The police have already opened a case. The receptionist glanced at the documents and sneered. Another identity theft case. Wait here. She picked up the intercom. Mr. Wong, another student, is here claiming their identity was stolen. 10 minutes later, a slick-haired, well-groomed, middle-aged man came out, introducing himself as Manager Wong. He skimmed through my materials and said with a condescending shake of his head, Miss Jean, it's not that we're uncooperative, but rules are rules. The loan was taken out from a bank card under your name, so you're responsible for repayment, but that's not my bank card. I produced the bank statement. The money was transferred to Sabrina's account the moment it was deposited. Here's the proof. Manager Wong dismissed the claim. A bank transfer only shows the flow of funds. It doesn't prove you were unaware of the loan at the time it was taken out. Kellen interjected. According to Article 52 of the contract law, a contract is void if one party uses fraudulent means to induce the other to enter into it against their true will. Your platforms lack review process, which allowed this impersonation loan to occur. constitutes significant negligence. Manager Wang was taken aback and looked Kellen over. And you are her attorney, Kellen replied, without batting an eye. I stood there, utterly dumbfounded. He lied without even a hint of shame. Manager Wang's attitude immediately softened. Well, we need to follow internal procedures to verify this. Leave the documents with us for now, and we'll notify you once we have a result. No, Kellen stated firmly. We must receive the debt cancellation confirmation today, or we'll file a complaint directly with the clerk. Beads of sweat formed on Manager Wang's forehead as he finally conceded. Teach. Then you'll have to sign a statement guaranteeing that you won't hold our platform liable. When I left, quick cash, I was holding a debt cancellation confirmation. Kellen was right. You have to be firm when dealing with these illegal platforms. Next stop is gold. Ant in the building next door, Kellen said, checking his phone notes. They use the most aggressive debt collection tactics. Sure enough, as soon as the gold ant receptionist heard we were there to dispute a debt, she immediately called over 2 burly men to escort us out. Kellen calmly started recording on his phone. According to Article 37 of the Internet Financial Management Regulations, lending platforms are obligated to verify the authenticity of borrowers' identities. By refusing to fulfill this legal duty, you are now on record. This audio will serve as evidence in court. The burly men exchanged uncertain glances before finally stepping aside. This time we were received by the legal department, whose approach was far more professional, but they still resorted to every possible excuse to avoid responsibility. Miss Jean, you claim your ID was stolen, but the loan application passed facial recognition verification, the legal officer said, pointing to a screenshot in the contract. This is undeniably you, correct? I scrutinized the screenshot and suddenly realized what had happened. This was taken in the library's digital reading room. Sabrina told me she needed me to hold my ID up to the camera to help me log in, but she was actually capturing the image to use for a loan application. The legal officer looked torn between belief and skepticism. Kellen suggested we can cross-reference the timestamps from the screenshot background with the library surveillance footage. After 2 hours of back-and-forth negotiations, Gold Ant finally agreed to cancel the debt, but required me to sign a non-disclosure agreement to prevent exposing their audit vulnerabilities. By the time we left the building at 3 p.m., we had only cleared 2 companies, with 15 more still waiting. Exhausted, I slumped onto a roadside bench and suddenly felt the road ahead was dauntingly long. Feeling tired, Kellen handed me a bottle of water. Let's take a break before heading to the next one. As I tipped the water bottle, my fingertips accidentally brushed against his hand, sending a faint electric tingle shooting through my skin. I quickly pulled my hand back, nearly dropping the bottle. Sorry, we said in unison, then laughed. At the same time, the awkward tension instantly melted away. Actually, I looked down while twisting the cap. You don't have to accompany me on all these errands. It's taking up too much of your time. Kellen was silent for a moment before saying abruptly, my sister was a victim, too. My head snapped up. Dappled shadows from the leaves danced across his face, making his expression unreadable. 3 years ago, her college roommate took out a campus loan in her name. Kellen's voice was calm, but his knuckles were white where he gripped the water bottle. She was too scared to tell her family, and in the end, she swallowed a whole bottle of sleeping pills. My heart clenched. They saved her. Kellen finally turned, his face toward me. The sunlight caught in his eyes, turning them translucent, like amber. But from that day on, I swore I wouldn't let campus loans destroy another student. So, that's how it is. He's helping me not because I'm Luna, but because he'd help any victim. This realization brings me both relief and an inexplicable sense of loss. Let's go. Kellen stood up. Let's get one more done before dark. I rose to follow him and suddenly noticed a slender scar on the back of his neck, partially visible above his collar. How did he get that? Could it be related to what happened with his sister? But I didn't ask. Someone shouldn't be carelessly probed. The fourth platform was even more hostile, outright threatening. Either pay up or we'll see you in court. But Kellen was prepared. He produced a document. This is last year's penalty decision from the clerk against your platform for permitting identity theft loans. Should I file another report? The person in charge turned pale and reluctantly signed the cancellation agreement in the end. On the way back to school, the sunset painted the sky a brilliant orange red. I leaned against the window, tired but content. We had resolved 4 cases in a single day, which went much more smoothly than expected. Shall we continue next weekend? Kellen asked. I nodded, then suddenly remembered something. By the way, when you said you were my lawyer today, that won't cause any trouble, will it? Kellen smiled, fine lines crinkling at the corners of his eyes. Don't worry, I do have a lawyer's license. Passed the bar last year when I was bored. My eyes widened. What exactly did you major in? Double degree in computer science and law, he said casually. Programming is my day job. Law is just a hobby. No wonder he could so easily hack into the library system to access the surveillance footage. The thought crossed my mind, but I quickly dismissed it. I shouldn't be speculating about someone who's helping me. As the car stopped by the dormitory, Kellen suddenly said, by the way, are you free tomorrow? My father would like to meet you. Your father? My heart skipped a beat. Why? He's a lawyer specializing in financial cases and wants to hear the details of the Sabrina case to see if he can help more victims. Kellen explained. Of course. No pressure if you'd rather not. I'll do it, I blurted out, then immediately, realizing how eager I sounded, quickly added, I mean, if it could help others. A faint smile touched Kellen's lips. I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Watching his car disappear into the distance, I stood frozen outside the dormitory, suddenly realizing I was experiencing something my past self never had. Being trusted, being helped, and even being cared for. This warmth in my heart felt more profound than any satisfaction revenge against Sabrina could bring. Kellen's father's law firm occupied a sleek high rise in the city center. As the elevator ascended, I nervously adjusted. My collar. Is what I'm wearing appropriate? Kellen looked over my white shirt and beige trousers. Very professional, he said, then added after a pause. Don't be nervous. My father is quite easygoing. The law firm was spacious and bright, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of the city skyline. Arthur, Kellen's father and a lawyer, stood up from behind his desk to greet us. He looked younger than I had imagined, kept himself in good shape, and only the gray at his temples hinted at his age. So you're Luna. I've heard a lot about you, Arthur said, his Handshake firm, but his gaze gentle. Kellen told me you're very brave. My cheeks grew warm, unsure how to respond. To such praise, Arthur invited us to sit down as his assistant brought 3 cups of coffee. He got straight to the point. I've reviewed the materials you provided. This case is textbook student loans, identity theft, serial fraud. There's likely an organized group behind. Sabrina, an organized group? I glanced at Kellen in surprise, and he nodded. It's nearly impossible for one person to steal multiple identities and borrow over 200,000 in such a short time. Arthur adjusted his glasses. I looked into Sabrina's background. She comes from an average family, but her spending skyrocketed in the last 6 months. She's been buying a lot of luxury items. I suddenly remembered Sabrina's unexplained collection of designer bags and cosmetics, so she's been splurging with the stolen money. There's more. Arthur opened his laptop and pulled up a network diagram. Both Sabrina and Aurelia joined a WeChat group called Campus Prime. The group admin is an off-campus individual who specifically teaches students how to cash out and maintain credit cards. The diagram was densely packed with names, and I spotted several familiar student names among them. Kellen pointed at one of them. This is Professor Derek's graduate student. He just dropped out last month. Why? I asked. He had a depressive episode and nearly jumped off a building. Kellen said in a low voice. We only found out later that he was driven to desperation by campus loans. My heart skipped a beat. Wasn't that exactly how I'd been in my past life? Only my luck had been worse, ending with a fatal fall. Arthur continued his analysis. Sabrina might be a recruiter for this group, specifically targeting vulnerable individuals. You're just one of their victims. He pulled up several photos showing loan agreements from different students. I leaned in for a closer look and suddenly pointed at one, exclaiming, the signature is forged. It's the same method used on mine. Are you sure? Arthur's eyes lit up. Absolutely. Look at the final stroke of this character. A genuine signature should curve upward, but here it's pressed downward. I pointed at the signature on the contract. Sabrina forged my signature exactly the same way. Arthur and Kellen exchanged excited glances. Arthur immediately made a call. Xiaochen, file a request right now to obtain all contacts from Sabrina's address book. Yes. Focus on checking loan platform registration records. After hanging up, Arthur explained to me, if we can prove Sabrina used the same method to steal multiple people's identities, the nature of this case changes completely. It could be classified as organized financial fraud. My heart raced. This meant Sabrina would face more severe legal consequences, and I was no longer an isolated victim. Luna, would you be willing to meet with the other victims? Arthur asked. There's strength in numbers. A class action lawsuit would be much more effective. I nodded without hesitation. Absolutely. As we were leaving the office, Kellen suddenly asked, Are you hungry? I know a great Cantonese place nearby. Only then did I realize it was already 2 p.m. The restaurant was elegantly decorated, and the host seated us at a quiet table by the window. Kellen expertly ordered several signature dishes and specifically requested no cilantro. You don't like cilantro? I asked. That, too. Kellen replied naturally. Last time at the school cafeteria, I saw you picking all the cilantro out of your noodles. I froze. He remembered. Such a small detail. My heart suddenly started racing uncontrollably. I looked down, pretending to adjust my napkin to hide my flushed cheeks. The food arrived quickly: crystal shrimp dumplings, honey glazed char siu, steamed sea bass. Each dish was exquisite and delicious. Kellen ate with such grace, handling chopsticks even more skillfully than I did. Do you often eat Cantonese food? I asked. My mother is from Guangdong. Kellen's eyes softened briefly. She used to make these dishes when I was a child. Whenever family was mentioned, he seemed like a different person, as if he'd let his guard down. I wanted to ask more, but hesitated, afraid of touching on a sensitive subject. How is your sister doing these days? I asked, cautiously. Kellen paused mid-motion. She's studying psychology in Australia and recovering well. He looked up at me. She's a lot like you, both too kind-hearted for your own good, which makes you easy to exploit. I didn't know how to respond to such an assessment. Perhaps in my past life I was indeed weak-willed, but since being reborn, my hands have been stained with schemes and vengeance. I'm not kind-hearted, I murmured. I gathered evidence to report Sabrina out of revenge. Kellen shook his head. Revenge and justice are sometimes separated by a very fine line. What matters is the outcome. You not only protected yourself, but may have helped others in the process. His words were like a key, gently unlocking a tightly shut door in my heart. True, my motives might not have been pure, but the outcome was good. With Sabrina arrested, at least she can't hurt anyone else anymore. By the way, Kellen changed the subject. What are your plans after graduation? I was caught off guard for a moment. Probably look for a job at a bank or securities company, something related to my major. Kellen said thoughtfully, have you considered graduate school? Our finance department has a program in financial regulation and risk control. That would suit you well. Me, I chuckled dryly. My grades are just average. No chance of getting into grad school through the recommendation track. You could take the entrance exam, Kellen said earnestly. Plus you have real-world experience. You've personally been through a campus loan scam and participated in the investigation. That's excellent research material. I'd never considered that possibility. In my previous life, all I wanted was to graduate and find a stable job to escape the campus life that Sabrina had ruined for me. But now, Kellen painted a different future for me, one where I could not only save myself, but also help others avoid falling into the same trap. On our way back to campus, Kellen got a call from Arthur. After hanging up, he turned to me and said, we've found 3 other victims, all students from our school. They're willing to meet tomorrow to talk things through. The next day was Sunday. We met the 3 students in the student union office. Li Meng from the College of Liberal Arts, Jiang Zian from the Computer Science Department, and Qin Yu from the Art Institute. They all looked utterly exhausted, their eyes filled with the same fear and weariness I knew all too well. Li Meng was the first to speak up. Sabrina's my roommate. She took out over 80,000 yuan in loans using my name and blew it all on designer bags. She was the senior student in my club. Jiang Zian said, with a bitter smile, promised to help me invest in Bitcoin, but ended up using my ID to borrow 50,000 yuan instead. Chinyu had it worst. Debt collectors cornered her in the art studio, splashed red paint everywhere, and she nearly got expelled from school. After seeing the evidence I provided, they all started pulling out their own documents, forged signatures, photos of their misused IDs, baffling bank statements. The methods were identical. Arthur had us sign a joint litigation authorization, promising to help us seek justice and clear our negative credit records. After the meeting, Chinyu suddenly burst into tears. Thank you, all. I thought I was the only one who'd been so naive. Li Meng hugged her. No, we've all been deceived. Now we're going to fight for justice together. Watching them comfort each other, I felt a surge of warmth in my heart. In my past life, I was alone until the very end. But now, I have companions, I have support, and I have Kellen. After seeing my classmates off, Kellen asked me, feeling better now? I nodded, suddenly realizing it had been a long time since I'd last received a debt collection call, even though there are still over a dozen platforms left to deal with. The hardest part is already behind me. Kellen, I mustered up the courage to ask, why are you helping me so much? Sunlight streamed in through the corridor window, falling across half of his face. He was silent for a moment, then said softly, at first, it was because of my sister, but later his phone suddenly rang, cutting him off. After hanging up the phone, his expression turned grim. Sabrina has been released on bail. What? I felt a chill run down my spine. How is that possible? Her father pulled some strings and posted bail, Kellen said with a frown. But don't worry, she won't dare make any rash moves for now. I wasn't so sure in our previous life when Sabrina pushed me down the stairs. The madness and venom in her eyes were something I'd never forget. For her, being released on bail wasn't a restriction. It was just another opportunity to cause trouble. Sure enough, the moment I got back to my dorm, Sabrina's text came through. Luna, we need to talk. Sabrina's message coiled on my phone, screen like a venomous snake. Luna, we need to talk. I stared at those 5 words, my finger hovering over the screen, unable to move. Who is it? Mia leaned up from the bed. You look awful. I locked my screen. Sabrina, she's out on bail. Mia gasped sharply. What does she want from you? Don't engage with her. I shook my head, reopened my phone, and replied, what is there to discuss? Sabrina replied, instantly, let's talk in person. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., the cafe by the school gate. I bit my lower lip, thinking, okay. I replied, briefly, then immediately texted Kellen. Sabrina wants to meet me tomorrow. Kellen called within 3 seconds. Don't go. His voice was uncharacteristically tense. She just got out on bail and is already contacting you. She's definitely up to no good. I know, I whispered, lowering my voice, but I have a feeling this meeting will give us the crucial evidence we need. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line before the response came. Then, I'm coming with you. No. I shook my head, even though I knew he couldn't see it. If she spots you, she'll clam up. I have to go alone, but I'll record the whole conversation. Another pause followed, and finally, Kellen relented. All right, but I'll be close by. Call me immediately if anything seems off. After hanging up the phone, I started preparing for tomorrow's meeting. First, a backup phone with the autorecord function set up, then a miniature camera discreetly pinned to my collar, and, finally, pepper spray tucked in my pocket within easy reach. Mia stared in disbelief. Are you going on a date or going undercover? Both, I said with a wry smile. Sabrina is more dangerous than a criminal. The next afternoon, I arrived at the cafe half an hour early and chose a seat by the window. The spot offered a clear view of the entrance, while allowing Kellen to see inside from the street. At 2:55, Sabrina pushed the door open and walked in. She wore a plain white t-shirt and jeans with no makeup on, a stark contrast to her usual polished and flamboyant style. Spotting me, she hurried over with tears in her eyes. Luna. Her voice broke the moment. She spoke. I'm sorry. I truly know I was wrong. I watched her performance coldly without responding. Sabrina sat down on her own, wringing her hands. I was confused for a moment and got tricked by those campus loan sharks. They threatened to hurt my family if I didn't help them find people to borrow money. I almost laughed out loud. That excuse was so poorly fabricated. She's the one who actively stole my information, and now she's playing the victim. Oh, really? I asked coolly. Then how do you explain the notes from loan apps on your phone? And what's this about you bragging to Aurelia about taking out loans in my name? Sabrina's face froze. Then she started crying even harder. They made me say those things. Luna, we've been best friends for 3 years. Don't you know me better than that? 3 years of friendship, right? 3 years of her meticulously scheming against me. I suppose I do know her. What exactly are you trying to discuss? I cut straight to the point. Sabrina wiped her tears and suddenly lowered her voice. I can help you clear all your debts, as long as you sign a letter of understanding. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, my dad knows people at the banking regulatory commission. He can help you settle things with all the platforms. Sabrina said urgently, if you just tell the police it was a misunderstanding and show some leniency, I can avoid prosecution. So, that's it. Getting bail was just the first step. What she really wants is to get off scot-free. Why should I trust you? I asked. Sabrina pulled out a stack of documents from her bag. These are debt cancellation confirmations from 5 platforms. Sign the letter of understanding, and the rest will be sorted within a week. I flipped through the documents. Each bore the platform's official seal. It seemed Sabrina's father really had connections. But here was the catch. I'd already filed appeals through proper channels for 4 of these platforms, and 2 in Sabrina's documents were duplicates. She's bluffing. The terms are tempting. I pretended to ponder, but I need time to think it over. Sabrina's expression darkened momentarily before reverting to a pitiable look. Luna, the police only gave me 3 days to negotiate. I have to give them an answer by tomorrow. That soon. It only made me more certain there was something fishy going on. I'll give you my answer tonight, I said, starting to rise from my seat. Sabrina suddenly grabbed my wrist with surprising force. Sign it now. Her voice turned shrill, drawing stares from the neighboring table. I pulled my hand free and said coldly, let go. Sabrina's expression shifted from pleading to venomous. Don't push your luck, Luna, she hissed, her voice dropping to a poisonous whisper. How do you think those nude loan rumors started? I froze. What do you mean? Sabrina smirked triumphantly, pulling out her phone to show a photo, a selfie I'd taken in front of the bathroom mirror wearing only underwear, but someone had photoshopped it to look like a nude photo complete with loan shark watermarks. My blood ran cold. This is fake. Of course it's fake, Sabrina said scornfully. But do you think anyone will believe that? Especially if these photos start circulating on the school forum and class group chats? My hands clenched into fists beneath the table, nails digging deep into my palms. The pain kept me grounded, stopping rage from clouding my judgment. My backup phone was recording. Every word Sabrina said would become evidence. What do you want? I forced my voice to remain steady. The letter of understanding. Sign it now. Sabrina pulled a document from her bag and slid it toward me. Do this, and those photos will never see the light of day. I glanced at the document, which read, I, Luna, voluntarily lend my ID card to Sabrina for her use, and I am fully aware of and consent to all borrowing activities. This isn't a letter of understanding at all. It's a confession. Once signed, not only will Sabrina be cleared of all charges, but all the debt will legally fall on me. What if I don't sign? I looked up and met her eyes directly. Sabrina laughed. That bone-chilling laugh of hers. Then tomorrow, the whole school will see your nude photos and intimate videos with various men. Don't worry. They'll all be deep fakes. Do you think Kellen will still believe you're innocent after seeing those? She even knows about Kellen. My chest felt tight, but my mind was still clear. Every word Sabrina is saying now is being recorded. Solid evidence of extortion. I need to use the restroom, I said abruptly. Sabrina frowned. Sign it first, then you can go. No. I stood up. Either let me use the restroom or I'm walking out right now. Sabrina hesitated, then finally nodded. 5 minutes. Don't try anything funny. In the restroom, I immediately texted Kellen. She fabricated nude photos and a video of me to force me to sign a confession. I've got the recording. Kellen replied instantly. Call the police. I'm right outside. I took a deep breath, composed myself, and returned to my seat. Sabrina was drumming her fingers impatiently on the table. Made up your mind? I have, I said calmly. I refuse. Sabrina's face twisted in an instant. You, creating fake nude photos of someone and threatening to distribute them, constitutes extortion and defamation. I said, enunciating each word clearly. I've recorded our entire conversation, and the police are on their way. Sabrina's face went pale as she shot up from her seat. You set me up. Takes one to know one. I sneered. You fabricate compromising photos. I gather audio evidence. Seems fair to me. Sabrina suddenly grabbed her coffee mug and hurled the contents at me. I sidestepped the liquid while pulling out my pepper spray. She screamed and stumbled backward, knocking over her chair. You, she screamed hysterically. Did you think this was over? Aurelia has more dirt on you. Just wait until your reputation is completely ruined. The cafe door swung open as Kellen strode in with 2 police officers. Seeing them, Sabrina grabbed her purse and tried to bolt, but one of the officers blocked her path. Miss Sabrina, you're under suspicion of extortion. Please cooperate with our investigation. Sabrina struggled wildly. How dare you arrest me? My father is George. I'll have your badges by tomorrow. Just you. Wait. The police remained unfazed as they handcuffed her. When Sabrina was being led away, she shot me a venomous glare over her shoulder, her mouth still spewing curses. Kellen hurried over to my side. Are you okay? I shook my head, but my legs suddenly gave way, nearly sending me to my knees. Kellen caught me, and only then did I realize my hands were trembling uncontrollably. I am fine. I tried to pull away, but he held me tight. Don't push yourself. Kellen's voice came from above me. You did well. You're safe now. His embrace was warm and solid. I caught the faint scent of cedar from him, and my tense nerves finally relaxed. Tears welled up uncontrollably as I buried my face in his chest, crying silently. The photos, I choked out. The police will handle it, Kellen said, softly, stroking my back. Those fabricated pieces of evidence won't get out. Looking up at him, I saw a tenderness and concern in his eyes I'd never witnessed before. In that moment, I suddenly realized my rebirth had not only altered my destiny, but also brought me to Kellen, someone fate hadn't allowed me to know in my previous life. Thank you for coming, I whispered. Kellen gently wiped the tears from my cheeks. I promised I'd protect you. As we left the cafe, the sunset painted the sky in shades of tangerine. Kellen insisted on walking me back to my dorm, holding my hand the entire way as if afraid I might vanish. Aurelia, the one Sabrina mentioned, he began abruptly. I nodded. She's definitely involved. She's the one spreading those rumors. The police will investigate, Kellen said, squeezing my hand. But until then, you need to be extra careful. Back at the dorm, Mia was furious when she heard what happened. How vile. Faking nude photos. Who even does that? I slumped wearily onto the edge of the bed when my phone buzzed. Abruptly, a message from Arthur. Evidence received. Sabrina is facing new charges and her bail may be revoked. Come to the office tomorrow with Kellen. There's a new development. A new development? Just as I was about to press for details, another message came through, this time from an unknown number. Think you've won. The game has only just begun. SS. Aurelia's initial is Z, not S. So who is this S? Is there someone else behind? Sabrina? I stared at the message. A chill creeping from my feet through my entire body. Memories from my past life resurfaced right before I fell down the stairs. I had indeed seen a chat history with S on Sabrina's phone. This was far from over. In Arthur's office, sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, flooding the conference room. Kellen sat beside me, his fingers tapping lightly on the table, with a rhythm that betrayed a hint of tension. We've analyzed Sabrina's communication records, Arthur said, sliding a file across the table. She was indeed a member of a campus loan shark ring. Code name Snow Bunny. I opened the file to find it packed with call logs and chat screenshots. One group chat was named Campus Vast Loan VIP Group, with about a dozen members, all using animal code names. This Black Fox is the group admin, an off-campus individual who specializes in loan sharking to students. Arthur pointed at one of the names. And Peacock. Is that Aurelia? I guessed. Arthur nodded. Exactly. As for the S that Sabrina mentioned, he flipped to the next page. It's Viper, the group's tech support, responsible for forging documents and photos. A sharp pain twisted in my gut. So this Viper was the mastermind behind my compromising photos. The good news is, Arthur continued, since Sabrina was caught, the group has started turning on each other. Aurelia tried to wipe all the chat logs yesterday, but we had backups ready. Kellen spoke up abruptly. Any leads on that threatening text message? Not yet. Arthur frowned. It was sent from a burner phone with an overseas IP, but judging by the wording, it's likely from Viper. After the meeting, Arthur asked me to stay behind Luna as a key witness. You'll need to testify in court next week. Are you ready? I took a deep breath, and nodded. In my past life, I never got justice before I died. This time, I'm determined to see Sabrina face legal consequences with my own eyes. After leaving the office, Kellen suggested we take a walk in the nearby park. It was an early summer afternoon, and a cool breeze rustled through the shade. We walked side by side along the cobblestone path, neither of us speaking for a while. "What's on your mind?" Kellen finally broke the silence. I kicked a pebble away, just thinking, what would I be like now if I hadn't been reborn? Reborn. Kellen raised an eyebrow. I realized I'd let it slip and quickly explained. If I hadn't discovered Sabrina's scheme. Kellen gave me a thoughtful look but didn't press further. As we reached a fountain, he suddenly stopped. "Luna, there's something I've been meaning to ask you." His voice was unusually serious. "Why did you trust me from the very beginning?" I froze. How could I explain? Should I say that after I died in my previous life, my spirit wandered and I saw him crying for me? Or that I knew what happened to his sister and believed he would understand my pain? Just intuition. I finally answered vaguely. "You give off this very reliable vibe." Kellen chuckled, fine lines appearing at the corners of his eyes. "Well, did your intuition tell you?" He paused. "How I feel about you?" My heart suddenly raced, my cheeks burning hot. What feeling? This kind. Kellen suddenly moved closer, gently taking my hand. "Ever since I first saw you outside the classroom, I thought this girl was special." I looked down at our intertwined hands, his fingers long and warm, perfectly enveloping mine. In my past life, I wouldn't even have dared to dream of such a scene. Kellen not only believed in me, but also liked me. I opened my mouth, but didn't know what to say. "You don't have to answer right now," Kellen said gently. "I know you've been through a lot and need time." We continued our walk, our hands still intertwined. Sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the ground. In that moment, the nightmares of our past lives seemed to fade away, leaving only the present tranquility and beauty. By the time we returned to campus, it was already evening. Kellen walked me back to my dorm. As we passed through the small grove, a familiar figure blocked our path. Aurelia. She was wearing heavy makeup and revealing clothes, a stark contrast to her usual innocent image. Spotting us, she let out a cold sneer. Well, look who's back from their little tryst." The adulterous couple, Kellen, immediately stepped in front of me. "Aurelia, watch your mouth." "What? Scared to face the consequences?" Aurelia sneered. "Luna, did you really think taking down Sabrina would solve everything? Let me tell you, Brother Viper has prepared a special gift. Tomorrow, the whole school will get to enjoy your spectacular performance." A chill ran down my spine. They were still planning to spread those fake photos and videos. Kellen's voice was icy. "Aurelia, distributing private photos without consent is a crime. The police are already investigating your little gang. Do you really want to end up like Sabrina?" Aurelia's face paled briefly before her arrogant expression returned. "Who do you think you're scaring? Go ahead. Arrest me now if you dare." She turned to me with venom in her eyes. "Luna, your reputation will be ruined. Just you wait." With that, she turned and dashed deep into the woods. Kellen moved to chase her, but I held him back. "It's no use. She's just a minor pawn." But what she said, "I'll take preemptive measures." I took out my phone, sent a message to Arthur, and then contacted my academic advisor to report the situation. After finishing these tasks, I looked up at Kellen and noticed him, watching me with an unreadable expression. What's wrong? I asked. You've changed so much, Kellen said, softly. From that panicked girl you were at the beginning to who you are now, so composed and resilient. I gave a wry smile. Indeed, dying and being reborn had me. But was this change for better or worse? Sometimes I wonder. I murmured. What's left for me after getting my revenge on Sabrina? Hatred has kept me going this far. But what happens when that hatred fades away? Kellen was silent for a moment, then suddenly cupped my face in his hands. Life is left. The future is left. And his thumb gently brushed my cheek. Me. His eyes shone like stars in the twilight, and I seemed to see countless possibilities sparkling within them. The Luna of my past life died in hatred, but this life's Luna might just have a different ending. Kellen, I gathered my courage to ask, if someone told you about something like reincarnation, would you believe it? He paused for a moment, then began to ponder seriously. Science can't confirm it yet, but with a universe this vast, what's truly impossible? He gazed into my eyes. Why do you ask? It's nothing. I averted my gaze. Just a random thought. Kellen didn't press further, simply drawing me gently into his embrace, leaning against his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. I suddenly felt an urge to confess everything about my death, my rebirth, about Luna from my past life, that lonely and desperate soul. But in the end, I just stood there quietly, savoring this moment of peace. Some wounds need time to heal. Some secrets await the right moment to be shared. Back in the dorm, Mia sidled up to me with a conspiratorial whisper. You and Kellen, are you two an item now? My cheeks flushed. Who told you that? The whole campus knows. Mia squealed. Someone spotted you holding hands in the park, and Aurelia was heard calling you shameless adulterers. I sighed, rubbing my temples. Campus gossip faster than the venom virus. I was about to explain when my phone suddenly vibrated wildly. It was a message in the class group. Someone had shared a link with the shocking title, smoking gun video of Luna from the economics department in a Nuluan Sithgangdan. My hands instantly turned ice cold. They had made their move after all. The link in the class group exploded like a bomb, instantly igniting everyone's discussion. With trembling fingers, I clicked the link and was redirected to an unfamiliar website. There, prominently displayed, was a blurry video thumbnail. A girl who looked just like me, standing naked in front of the camera, holding her ID card. Below the video were several so-called nude photos, all fabricated using AI face swapping technology, but convincing enough to pass as real. Oh my God, it's actually true. Always acting so high and mighty, but behind the scenes, you're disgusting. Someone like you doesn't deserve to be at our school. The group chat was flooded with messages, and my vision began to blur, even though I had mentally prepared myself. Facing this overwhelming wave of humiliation still left me feeling suffocated. Mia snatched my phone away. Stop looking at that. It's all fake. I know it's fake. Kellen knows it's fake. The police know it's fake. But what about everyone else? Our classmates, teachers, even future employers who don't know the truth. Will they believe it? My phone suddenly rang. It was Kellen. Don't worry. The police have contacted the cybercrime unit to take down that website. Our advisor also posted an announcement in the group chat confirming its Fabricated. I opened the class group. Sha. And sure enough, there was a pinned message from our advisor. After verification, the photos and videos circulating online about student Luna have been confirmed as fabricated. The school has reported this to the police. Please do not believe or spread rumors. Yet beneath this announcement, some people were still making snide remarks. Is the school covering things up? Where there's smoke, there's fire. If she were truly innocent, why would she be targeted? I heard she has a special relationship with the student union vice president. Those in the know. Every word cut like a knife, stabbing straight into my heart. Since my rebirth, I've been playing my cards close to the chest, finally bringing Sabrina to justice. But am I still doomed to face ruin and disgrace? A sudden knock came at the dorm room door. Mia asked warily, "Who is it?" "It's me, Kellen." After Mia opened the door, Kellen quickly walked up to me, crouched down to meet my eyes, and said, "Luna, look at me." I looked up and met his resolute gaze. "This is just a temporary storm." Kellen's voice was steady and firm. "The police have already tracked the IP address and will soon apprehend Viper. The school will also issue an official statement." I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Memories of being isolated in my past life flooded over me. The strange looks from classmates, the teacher's hesitant words, the feeling of walking through campus with eyes boring into my back. "Luna," Kellen took my ice-cold hand. "This time is different. You're not alone." His palm was warm and dry, conveying silent strength. "Yes, in this life I have Kellen, Mia, Arthur, and those classmates who were also harmed by Sabrina. I'm not fighting alone. I'm fine." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. "What do we do next?" Kellen took out his laptop. "First, we need to secure the evidence." He opened a professional software. "We must take screenshots of all accounts, groups, and websites that have spread these photos and videos." The three of us divided the work and quickly collected hundreds of pieces of evidence. Kellen sorted them into categories, noting the time, publisher, and dissemination path. "Second," he continued, "we need to speak up proactively." He opened the campus forum and logged into a verified account. "This is the official student council account. I'll post a clarification statement." I watched his slender fingers swiftly typing across the keyboard, composing a well-reasoned clarification post, complete with the police case filing receipt and a professional technical assessment report. "Finally," Kellen said, turning to me, after clicking publish, "we need to track down the mastermind behind this." He pulled up a tracking program based on the IP address. Viper is likely operating from within the campus. I stared in surprise at the blinking red dot on the screen. "Can you pinpoint the exact location?" "We can only narrow it down to the east dormitory for now." Kellen frowned, "But based on other information, I have a suspect in mind." "Who?" Mia and I asked in unison. "Professor Derek from the computer science department." Kellen lowered his voice. "He specializes in artificial intelligence and image processing." And he pulled up a photo. "Look at this." The photo showed Professor Derek and Aurelia conversing in a cafe with a laptop on the table. "What does this prove?" Mia asked. "Look at the computer screen." Kellen zoomed in on the image. "This is a deep fake software interface." And he pointed to the snake tattoo on Professor Derek's wrist. the code name Viper might come from. This, I gasped, if someone at the professor level was involved. The situation just got a lot more complicated. We need more evidence. I pondered. Was he mentioned in Sabrina and Aurelia's chat logs? Kellen shook his head. They all use code names. But with Sabrina captured now, Aurelia's, like a startled bird, we might be able to get through to her. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Want the original video and photos. Meet me on the lab building rooftop at 10 o'clock tonight. Come alone. The three of us exchanged uneasy glances. It's a trap, Mia stated flatly, but it's also an opportunity. I tighten my grip on the phone. If we can catch Viper in person, too dangerous. Kellen shut it down flatly. If he dares to meet you, he's definitely got something planned. I bit my lower lip, thinking it over. It was risky, no doubt, but if we didn't seize this chance, Viper might stay hidden in the shadows forever, ready to strike again at any moment. We could turn the tables. Set a counter trap. A sudden idea flashed through my mind. If the police set up an ambush in advance, Kellen's eyes lit up. I'll contact my father and have him coordinate with the police to set up surveillance. At 9:30 p.m., the area around the lab building was eerily quiet. As agreed, I walked alone toward the rooftop, my phone in my pocket with real-time location tracking enabled, and a tiny earpiece hidden in my ear from which Kellen's voice came through. The police are already in position around the area, and we can see you. Remember, don't go near the edge of the rooftop. Keep a safe distance. I tapped the earpiece lightly to acknowledge, pushing open the rooftop door. The night breeze swept over me. A tall figure stood by the railing, and at the sound, he slowly turned around. It was indeed Professor Derek. Miss Luna, I've long heard of your reputation. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses with a refined smile that starkly contrasted with his code name Viper. Professor Derek. I remained motionless at the doorway. I didn't expect it to be you. Oh, that young Kellen has already figured it out. Professor Derek showed no surprise. Clever lad, just as one would expect from Arthur's son. He actually knew Kellen's father's name. My heart tightened. This meeting was proving more complicated than I had anticipated. What about the videos and photos? I cut straight to the chase. Professor Derek pulled a USB drive from his briefcase. The original files are all here, with no backups. He waved the drive. It's yours if you agree to one condition. What condition? Drop the charges against Sabrina. Professor Derek's voice turned icy. That girl was foolish enough to leave too much evidence. But if you insist on pursuing this, it won't just be about some trivial campus loan scheme. I narrowed my eyes. Are you threatening me? No, I'm appealing to reason. Professor Derek said with a smile. Do you have any idea how many professors at this university are involved in campus loan schemes, or how much research funding gets funneled into usurious lending every year? He took a step forward. Sabrina is just a pawn. If you keep targeting her, you'll be making an enemy of the entire interest group. So, that's how it is. Behind Sabrina isn't just a single criminal group, but a vast network of interests, one that even reaches into the upper echelons of the university. And if I refuse? I asked. Professor Derek sighed. What a pity. He suddenly pulled a remote from his pocket. Do you know how many blind spots there are on The lab building's rooftop? My whole body froze. What was he implying? Kellen's voice in my earpiece suddenly turned urgent. Luna, get out of there. He's got a stun gun. I spun around to run, but Professor Derek lunged forward, trying to leave. Too late. Just as he was about to grab me, the rooftop door burst open and two police officers rushed in shouting, "Freeze! Police!" Professor Derek's face turned pale. He spun around to climb over the railing and escape, but was intercepted by officers lying in wait downstairs. As they pinned him to the ground, he roared, "Do you know who I am? Arrest me, and I'll have you stripped of your badges by tomorrow." Kellen ran over and wrapped his arms around me. "It's over. Now. It's over." His voice trembled as he held me tightly, as if afraid I might vanish. The police found a stun gun, ropes, and drugs on Professor Derek. It was clear he hadn't just intended to threaten me tonight. He had something far more sinister planned. "Thanks to your timely call to the police," an officer told me. "Otherwise, the consequences would have been unthinkable." I watched Professor Derek being taken away, my heart a turmoil of mixed emotions. In my past life, it was only Sabrina who caused my death, but this life has revealed such a vast, dark network. If I hadn't met Kellen after being reborn, I might have fallen into the abyss once more. On the way back to the dorm, Kellen held my hand tightly the whole time. The night breeze was cool, the starlight dim, but his presence was like an unquenchable lamp, illuminating the path ahead of me. "Thank you," I said softly. "If it weren't for you, no ifs." Kellen cut me off. "I'll always be here." Such simple words, yet they made my eyes well up. Luna, who had died alone in her past life, would finally not be alone in this one. Chapter 14. A new beginning. News of Professor Derek's arrest spread across campus like wildfire. Early the next morning, the university president personally held a press conference announcing a zero-tolerance policy towards the campus loan issue and establishing a special task force to conduct a thorough investigation. Sitting in my dorm, watching the principal's righteous speech on TV, I couldn't help but feel the irony. If we hadn't risked catching them red-handed, would these high and mighty administrators have ever bothered with this? My phone vibrated. A message from Kellen. "Check the campus forum." I opened the forum to find a police notice pinned at the top detailing Professor Derek's gang's methods and specifically clarifying that my photos and videos were completely fabricated. Below the notice was a dedicated email for reporting, encouraging more victims to come forward. The forum erupted in an uproar. "Oh my God, it's actually Professor Derek. I took his class last semester. This is terrifying. How many more people like this is the university hiding? Luna is so brave. I would have completely fallen apart in her shoes." Public opinion did a complete 180. Overnight, those who once hurled insults at me are now falling over themselves to praise my courage and integrity. The fickleness of human nature just leaves me feeling exhausted and bitterly amused. Mia shook my shoulders excitedly. "Did you see that? Everyone's praising you." I saw. I forced a smile. But this adoration is just as cheap as the slander was before. Mia paused for a moment, then nodded in understanding. "True, but at least your reputation has been cleared." "Yeah, the reputation crisis is over. Sabrina and Aurelia are in custody awaiting trial, and Professor Derek's criminal ring has been dismantled. By all rights, I should feel relieved, but instead, I feel hollow inside, as if I've lost my purpose ever since my rebirth. Revenge has been my sole driving force. Now that I've had my vengeance, I'm at a loss for what comes next. In the afternoon, Kellen invited me for a walk by the lake. It was an early summer day. The sun was bright, but not scorching. The lake shimmered with light, and a few egrets strolled leisurely along the water's edge. The trial starts next week, Kellen said. Are you ready? I nodded. As the key witness, I need to testify in court about Sabrina and Aurelia's crimes. The evidence is solid. They won't escape legal consequences. What's next? Kellen asked softly. Any plans? I kicked a small pebble into the water, watching the ripples spread in concentric circles. I don't know. I've spent 2 lifetimes thinking about revenge, but never once considered what comes after success. 2 lifetimes? Kellen caught the word with sharp intuition. Only then did I realize I'd slipped up again. Strangely, I felt no panic. After all we'd been through, perhaps it was time to speak the truth. Kellen, I stopped walking and looked him straight in the eyes. If I told you I've died once before, would you believe me? His eyes, clear, amber in the sunlight, held no mockery, only sincerity. If you say it, I believe it. So, I told him everything. The tragic experiences of my past life, my plans for revenge after being reborn, and the fear and loneliness that only someone who has died once could understand. After I finished, we stood silently by the lake. I nervously waited for his reaction. Would he think I was crazy or that I was making up a story? So, Kellen finally spoke, his voice unusually gentle. Is this why you trusted me from the very beginning? I nodded, my nose stinging with emotion. In my past life, after I died, I saw you crying for me. That's when I realized someone truly cared about me. Kellen suddenly pulled me into a tight embrace, holding me so firmly I could barely breathe. Luna, in this lifetime, I won't let anyone hurt you ever again. The steady, powerful rhythm of his heartbeat echoed through his chest. I closed my eyes, letting my tears soak into his clothes. The moment I spoke my secret aloud, it felt like I had finally shed the burden I'd carried through 2 lifetimes. There's something I haven't told you either. Kellen released me, his expression hesitant. When I first approached you, it wasn't entirely because of my sister's situation. My heart tightened. What do you mean? My father. He's been investigating the network behind campus loans. Kellen explained. Professor Derek is just the tip of the iceberg. This could involve people at much higher levels. After my father learned about Sabrina's case, he saw it as a potential breakthrough. So, you had an ulterior motive for getting close to me? I took a step back, my chest feeling tight. At first, yes, Kellen said urgently. But then really, and then you actually fell for me. I gave a bitter smile. Or was that just part of the mission? Kellen's expression shifted. Luna, it's not what you think. I admit my initial motives weren't pure, but my feelings are real. Otherwise, I wouldn't have risked my life to save you. I wouldn't have. I need some time alone. I cut him off, turning to leave. Luna, Kellen called out from behind me, but I didn't turn back. Walking back to the dorm, my mind was in turmoil. Was even Kellen's concern just a pretense? Who could I trust in this life? My phone suddenly vibrated with a message from Arthur. Luna, Sabrina has requested to see you, saying she has something important to tell you. The police are asking if you're willing. Sabrina wants to see me. What trick is she trying to pull now? But in the end, curiosity won out over caution, and I replied, yes. The next day, accompanied by police, I entered the visitation room at the detention center. Sabrina was wearing an orange prison jumpsuit, her face pale and haggard, without makeup, a stark contrast to her usual radiant self. I didn't actually think you'd come, she said with a bitter smile. Get straight to the point, I replied, coldly. Sabrina stared at me for a few seconds before suddenly saying, you, no, I've always envied you. I almost laughed out loud. Envy me for being ruined by you? I envy how you always have someone looking out for you. Sabrina's gaze drifted into the distance. Aurelia, Professor Derek, they pretend to help me, but they're just using me as a pawn. Only you. She looked at me. Kellen genuinely loves you. My heart skipped a beat. Why are you bringing him up? Because I looked into him. Sabrina gave an eerie smile. He did have ulterior motives when he approached you, but he truly fell for you. That contradiction. Isn't it fascinating? I clenched my fists. What are you trying to say? Be careful of Aurelia. Sabrina lowered her voice suddenly. There are others behind her, more dangerous than Professor Derek. On the day of the trial, they might what? I pressed. Sabrina shook her head. That's all I can say. In exchange, I want you to do me a favor. What do you need? Tell my dad. Sabrina's voice suddenly choked with emotion. I'm sorry. I was stunned. Was that genuine remorse in the eyes of the woman who'd ruined 2 lifetimes for me? Acting her sincerity? I couldn't tell. And frankly, I didn't want to. Stepping out of the detention center, the sunlight stung my eyes. Sabrina's warning and the person behind Aurelia made me uneasy. But what really bothered me was the situation with Kellen. He did have ulterior motives for getting close to me, but were those life-saving acts of protection, those tender gazes and embraces, also fake? Back at school, I found myself inexplicably drawn to the computer lab. Kellen was usually working on his project there at this hour. Through the glass window, I saw him, intently typing code, his profile sharply defined in the glow of the screen. As if sensing something, he suddenly looked up toward the window. Our eyes met through the glass. He froze for a moment, then stood up and rushed. Outside, Luna, he said breathlessly, standing before me. Why are you investigating campus loans? I asked, directly. Kellen took a deep breath. Because my father's friend, Professor Lee, was murdered 3 years ago for exposing campus loan schemes, and it was staged to look like a suicide. A flicker of pain crossed his eyes. The police closed the case hastily, but my father never believed it. All these years he's been investigating on his own and discovered that campus loans are tied to a massive network of interests, even involving. Kellen nodded. Sabrina's case was the breakthrough. So, I did approach you with an agenda, but, Luna, I swear my feelings for you are real. His eyes were so clear I couldn't doubt him. Maybe this was fate's design. I needed vengeance. He needed the truth. And we found each other when we needed it most. There might be danger on the day of the trial. I relayed Sabrina's warning. Aurelia has powerful backers. Kellen furrowed his brow. I'll tighten security. But before that, he asked, tentatively, have you forgiven me? Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows across his face. I looked at this boy who had brought light into both my lifetimes and gave a slight nod, but on one condition. I added, "What condition?" "Teach me how to code," I said earnestly. "I want to learn hacking so I can protect myself in the future." Kellen smiled, fine lines crinkling at the corners of his eyes. "Deal." On the day of the trial, the courtroom was packed. As the key witness, I gave a detailed account of how Sabrina had stolen my identity to take out loans. When it was Aurelia's turn, she suddenly retracted her previous statement, claiming that Sabrina had forced her to commit all the crimes. Order in the court. The judge banged the gavel. "The defendant will not disrupt these proceedings." Just then, a man in a flat cap suddenly rose from the gallery and charged toward me. Kellen reacted instantly, shielding me behind him. The bailiff swiftly subdued the attacker, and when they pulled off his cap, it was actually Professor Derek's teaching assistant. Just as I thought. "There are more accomplices," Kellen said coldly. In the end, Sabrina and Aurelia were sentenced to 5 years and 3 years in prison, respectively, for fraud, extortion, and other charges. Professor Derek's case, due to its broader implications, will be handled separately. Stepping out of the courthouse, the sunlight was blindingly bright. Kellen took my hand and said, "It's over. Yes, it's over. The grudges of past lives and the schemes of this one have all been settled with the final strike of the gavel." "No." I shook my head. "It's a new beginning." Kellen paused for a moment, then smiled in understanding. He leaned down and gently kissed my forehead. "Yes, a new beginning." In the distance, the leaves of the plane trees rustled in the wind as if applauding for us. Luna, from the past life, died in hatred, but this life's Luna has finally stepped into her own bright future. Story 2. My roommate found a little white snake and insisted on keeping it in our dorm. I warned her that wild snakes carry diseases and pets aren't allowed in dorms, urging her to release. It turns out the snake understood human speech, and it held a grudge against me. Ever since, from that day on, dismembered animal parts started mysteriously appearing on my bed. It wasn't until I brought my 5-year-old sister back to the dorm that the snake, when I wasn't looking, bit off 2 of her fingers. Enraged, I grabbed a fruit knife, intending to kill it. My roommates held me back, allowing the snake to escape. For years later, I graduated with my master's degree. The moment I opened the door, I was hit by the smell of blood. I looked up, and dozens of snake eyes were staring right at me. Leading them was that white snake. My parents and sister had been torn to shreds by it. I didn't have time to run. It swallowed me whole in one gulp. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day my roommate found the little white snake. Its red forked tongue flicked across my face. The fear of being devoured by it in my previous life came flooding back. My roommate, Erica, was still grinning. "Luna, this little white snake is hurt. I'm keeping it in our dorm." I scanned the room. The other 2 roommates had turned ghostly, pale, huddled together in the corner, while shooting me desperate pleading looks. My gaze returned to Erica's face, watching her sinister smirk. I knew she brought the snake back on purpose. Just yesterday I'd mentioned how terrified I was of snakes. Erica pressed again. "What do you think, Leora?" I shrugged indifferently. "Keep it." Erica's smile froze on her face. At that moment, my other 2 roommates called out my name. I knew they wanted me to reject Erica. And in my previous life, that's exactly what I did. 1. She found a little white snake in the wild, and there's no telling if it carries any viruses. Most importantly, the majority of girls are afraid of snakes. If we keep this little white snake in the dorms and it bites someone or scares them, we'll all be in trouble. But Erica has had it in for me since freshman year. I told her not to keep it, but she stubbornly made a home for that little white snake in our dorm. Anyway, when I couldn't take it anymore, I reported the whole thing to our homeroom teacher. The teacher gave Erica a good scolding, and only then did she reluctantly get rid of the snake. I assumed she'd taken it to an animal shelter or vet clinic. I never imagined she'd release it in the school flower bed. She brings food to feed the little white snake every day. I once overheard Erica complaining to it. Don't blame me. Blame Leora. She's the one who separated us. I can't even give you a home. That was truly amusing. Erica's home is in the same city as Mine. If she really wanted to keep it, and the school didn't allow it, she could have easily taken it home. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I never imagined that snake would be so intelligent, poisoned by Erica's words. It grew to resent me. From that day on, disgusting things kept appearing on my bed. Half-eaten dead rats, headless toads, and mutilated sparrows, identifiable only by their feathers. I reported it to the police, but that little white snake was too good at hiding. They never found it. Erica was the only one who could find it, but she refused to cooperate at all. She even posted on the campus forum, accusing me of slandering the little white snake, saying I blamed it without proof. The situation dragged on for half a year until the day my parents couldn't babysit, so I brought my 5-year-old sister to the dorm. I just stepped away to wash some fruit. When I heard my sister's heart-wrenching screams, I rushed out to find her and saw that 2 of her fingers were gone. The little white snake was coiled there, defiantly, blood still smeared around its mouth. My mind went blank for a few seconds. Then, I don't know where the strength came from, but I just grabbed it, just as I was stabbing it with the fruit knife. Erica walked in. She let out a scream and rushed over at the sight. She grabbed my knife with a death grip, then sank her teeth into my hand that held the little white snake. Run, Snow. She's trying to kill you. The pain made me loosen my grip. The little white snake slithered away swiftly. 3 years later, that white serpent became the Snake King. He led a horde of snakes straight to my doorstep, the image of my parents and sister lying in a pool of blood replayed in my mind, and I couldn't help but shiver. In this lifetime, whoever wants to stop Erica from keeping snakes, go right ahead. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Seeing my indifferent reaction, Erica bit her lip. Leora, I'm not just keeping them for a while. Even after I've recovered, I'll continue to keep them. If you have any objections, now's the time to say them. Under her expectant gaze, I reached out and stroked the little white snake's head. No objections here. It looks gorgeous. Take good care of it. Erica frowned, ignoring her. I turned around and slung my backpack over my shoulder. My shift at the fried chicken place just started, so I'm heading out. As I was leaving, I heard my other roommate, Jasmine, say, Erica, maybe you should reconsider. The dorm is for sleeping. Erica retorted, annoyed. What's there to reconsider? Leora, as class monitor, hasn't said anything. So, what do you have to complain about? I didn't catch what Jasmine said next, but I'm guessing she won't contradict Erica. Erica is with the student council, and she's also the head of the department that manages student credits. If you cross her, you're in for a bad time. She'd keep a hawk eye on you, looking for every opportunity to deduct points. Falling short on credits not only means losing scholarships, but also risks getting held back a year. So, even though the other two roommates couldn't stand Erica's behavior, they bit their tongues daily, and I happened to be Erica's least favorite of all. But since I'm the class president, plus the homeroom teacher and several instructors all favored me, Erica's point deduction threats didn't faze me. That's why Erica had it out for me. She'd constantly give me a hard time. Only after finishing my part-time job did I truly feel reborn. The student council had an event that evening, and Erica still wasn't back when I returned to the dorm. She'd stuffed the little white snake into a battered cardboard box without even leaving water. The pale serpent lay severely injured, coiled tightly upon itself. I just put my bag down when Jasmine pulled back her bed curtain. Squad leader, she whispered, "Could you tell Erica to get rid of the snake? Keeping it in the dorm is just too terrifying." I asked her, "Why don't you tell her yourself?" She wouldn't listen to me. Jasmine said, pressing her lips together, "Squad leader, please help. You're the only one who dares to cross her." Just because I dare to cross her, does that mean I should? I glanced over and saw the little white snake had woken up. I cleared my throat. Besides, this little white snake is so cute. Keeping it in the dorm might even bring us good luck. Jasmine paled. "But we're all scared. Shouldn't you handle this as class monitor?" I shrugged. "I can't control people keeping pets. If it bothers you, report it to the teacher yourself." Seeing my refusal to intervene, Jasmine's face instantly fell. She muttered under her breath, "What a jerk. I don't know if there's something wrong with me. I feel like there's something wrong with her. She has a mouth, too. She could tell the teacher herself, but she only wants me to stick my neck out." Jasmine, who had been cursing up a storm in front of me, didn't dare utter another word once. Erica returned after the lights went out. I hadn't even fallen asleep when I heard a rustling sound. Then came the sound of something bumping into cardboard boxes. Erica woke up. "What was that sound?" "Sounds like the snake," Jasmine whispered. "Is it hungry? Did you feed it?" "Nope. I don't even eat dinner myself. Why would I bother with it?" As soon as she said that, the snake's rustling grew louder. Erica snapped, grabbing her bedside power bank and tossing it down. "Shut up. You'll get food tomorrow." The power bank landed on something with a dull thud. Whether it was knocked unconscious or Erica's words took effect remained unclear. The little white snake fell completely still. Soon after, all three roommates were asleep. Yet I couldn't fall asleep. In our past life, Erica treated that little white snake like a treasure. When she saw I was afraid of it, she'd feed it, apply medicine, almost bringing it to bed with her. But now she's so impatient with it. Could it be that since she saw I had no reaction to the little white snake, she figured the snake was useless and stopped caring? This very question was confirmed over the next few days. Erica, who had said she'd find food for the little white snake, seemed to have completely forgotten about it. She'd leave early every day and come back very late. She'd only occasionally peek into the box the little white snake was already severely injured, and Erica completely neglected it. A few days later, its wounds festered and the snake was on the verge of starving to death. I thought it would just die like that, but then I heard a commotion on Sunday night. It seemed to have regained some strength, struggling to get out of the box, and the way it looked at us, the few of us in the dorm, had completely changed. The snake was never ordinary. It understood human nature and held grudges. After some thought, I went out to buy medical supplies and even picked up some leftover chicken scraps from a fast food joint back in my dorm. I carefully trimmed away the rotting flesh from its body. The little white snake initially eyed me with hostility, flushing to avoid my touch. I whispered softly, "Don't be afraid. Let me tend to your wound." The little white snake stayed still as I treated its injuries, then tossed the scraps its way. It sniffed the offerings before devouring them ravenously, clearly starving, too. From that day on, I made it a habit to bring back scraps to feed it daily. Later, feeling the cardboard box wasn't safe enough, iurdarata prupe a snake. Terrarium online. As Erica saw me caring more for the little white snake, she became increasingly indifferent, skipping even basic check-ins. She never actually said the words, "Let's give the snake away." I figured if Erica truly wouldn't take responsibility, I'd send the fully recovered snake to an animal sanctuary. To everyone's surprise, Erica made a move 3 days later. I had just finished my part-time job when the homeroom teacher called. Rushing back to the dorm, I found the homeroom teacher standing with a school administrator. The other 3 dorm mates were standing together. Erica actually gave me a smug smile when she saw me. I hadn't even asked what happened yet. The homeroom teacher cut straight to the chase. "Leora, is this snake yours?" I shook my head. "It's not mine. Erica owns it." At this, Erica immediately protested and accused me. "Leora, you can't just go around making false accusations. That snake is clearly yours." Another school administrator frowned deeply. "How could you keep such a dangerous thing in the dorm? Do you realize how many complaints I've already received? And you're a class officer. Get rid of it immediately." Only then did I realize the student council had spotted the snake during a dorm inspection, panicked, and reported it straight to the dean. I shot Erica a glance. There was no doubt she was behind this. "We're juniors." The student union stopped checking dorm hygiene ages ago. If she's the one doing inspections, then she probably wrote that confession wall post, too. Erica smirked triumphantly. "Leora, I warned you about keeping that in the dorm. It scares people, but you just wouldn't listen." I replied calmly, "That snake was clearly yours. Nothing to do with me. Professor, you can ask any other dorm resident if you don't believe me." I always thought I was closer to Jasmine and her friend than Erica, so I assumed they'd take my side. Jasmine turned pale and stammered, "We don't know who brought it in. We just know Leora's been feeding the snake every day." "Jasmine, how could you say something so heartless?" Furious, I stared them down with burning eyes. The school administrators couldn't stay silent anymore. "What's wrong with you? Even if you won't admit to keeping it, how could you slander and threaten other students?" She turned to the homeroom teacher. "So, this is your model class monitor, with this scandal blowing up and her still refusing to admit fault. We'll have to handle this according to school regulations, following school policy. I'm definitely getting a formal warning for this. My grades were good enough for guaranteed graduate admission. But after this incident, that privilege is probably gone. The homeroom teacher quickly mediated. Sir, let's reconsider this matter. Leora has always been an outstanding student. There might be more to this situation. We should give her another chance. Professor, that's blatant favoritism. Erica protested angrily. As class monitor and exemplary student leader, she should have set an example. Aren't you showing bias? The teacher's face flushed instantly. The administrator nodded in agreement. Disciplinary action is mandatory. Someone like this doesn't deserve leadership positions, let alone graduate school recommendations. Erica grew even more smug. I sighed. I swear I didn't bring that snake into the dorm. Leora, stop making excuses at this point. I turned to Erica and said, I've got proof. Erica once framed me for stealing. That's why I always carry a voice recorder with me. I found the recording from the day Erica brought the snake back and played her exact words about wanting to keep a snake for everyone to hear. I also dug up the recording of Jasmine talking to me, asking me to speak with Erica and tell her not to keep the snake. To prove that, the other two roommates were also aware. All three of their faces went pale simultaneously, and the school principal's expression was also grim. Erica retorted stubbornly, even if you didn't bring it back, it's a fact that you fed it and bought a crate for it. You're more like its owner than I am. Teacher, I fed it because I believe all living things have spirits, and I couldn't just stand by and watch a life. I said truthfully, I bought the cage because I was afraid it would run out and bite someone. Is there anything wrong with that? Erica was about to say more when the homeroom teacher cut her off. All right, since it's just a misunderstanding, let's drop it. Regardless, pets aren't allowed in the dorm. Erica, since this mess is your doing, you'll handle the snake. Leora, as class monitor, you've failed your supervisory duty. This reflects poorly on you, too. The teacher feared escalating the situation, so both Erica and I got disciplinary action. So, before school, administrators got involved. She gave us all a stern lecture. Finally, she ordered Erica to remove the little white snake immediately to avoid causing panic. The homeroom teacher left the dormitory with the administrators. This incident didn't affect me, but Erica got chewed out instead and was absolutely livid. She opened the incubator with rough movements. Her grip was even more forceful when reaching for the little white snake. The little white snake glared at her with fury and panic in its eyes. Clearly, it had overheard everything that was just said. I stepped forward. Where are you taking it? None of your damn business. Where I take it? After pretending to hesitate, I said with feigned reluctance, why don't you let me take care of it? Its injuries haven't fully healed yet. I'll nurse it back to health and release it in the woods. The little white snake's eyes lit up at my words, its tail stretching slightly toward me. It genuinely seemed to want to come with me. Erica witnessed the scene and flew into a rage. You ungrateful snake, biting the hand that feeds you. I'm your real owner. She jabbed her finger hard into the little white snake's wound. The snake writhed in pain, curling into itself. Erica shot me a glance. You want it? Too bad. I'm releasing it right now. With that, she walked out holding the little white snake. Her hands were restless, swinging it back and forth. I warned, stop shaking it like that. It's uncomfortable. As if Erica would ever listen to me. She only shook it harder, as if afraid the little white snake might actually feel at ease. After Erica left, Jasmine and our other roommate just stared at me blankly. They stayed silent, and so did I. After several minutes of this awkward standoff, Jasmine finally broke the silence. Sorry, Leora, she said. We didn't mean what we said. Erica was throwing her student council weight around, and we're not like you, the teacher's favorite. We're just regular students. Her words ignited an inexplicable rage inside me. I've never understood why they were so afraid of the student council. After all, student council members are just students, too. We're all equals here. Suppressing my anger, I spoke up. Are you really going to keep acting like this? Jasmine froze. What? Do you really want to keep dealing with Erica like this? We've got over a year left in college. After today's mess, knowing her personality, she'll probably blame both of you. I chose my words carefully. Do you want to take Erica down? I never expected Jasmine and the others would actually take my advice in the end. Erica didn't return until half an hour later, her arm wrapped in bandages. A nosy roommate asked where she'd taken the snake. She snapped angrily. Right on campus. That little bastard bit me the moment I stepped out of the dorm and bolted. If I ever see it again, I swear, I won't let it off easy. The next day, I went to the school flower bed alone. After calling Xiao Bai twice, rustling sounds emerged from the grass. A minute later, the little white snake appeared before me. I cried out in delight. Thank goodness you didn't go far. I knelt down and took out ointment from my bag to apply on it, along with old wounds. There were some fresh injuries. Tears welled up as I whispered, Did Erica do this to you, Snowball? I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. The little white snake gazed at my tears, then unexpectedly nuzzled its head against my palm as if seeking affection. I sighed. What a shame I can't keep you at home. It's all Erica's fault. If not for her, we wouldn't have to part. As I spoke the exact same words Erica had said in our past life, the little snake mirrored the identical expression from that lifetime. In the following days, I secretly visited the white serpent every chance I got, fed and medicated it as usual. The little white snake's wounds were nearly healed and it had grown slightly larger. Meanwhile, Erica ran into some trouble. First, someone posted on the confession wall about spotting a beautiful white snake on campus, asking if anyone else had seen it. He posted a photo of the little white snake online, asking classmates to help identify whether it was venomous. Someone replied that the snake wasn't poisonous, but this particular breed is highly intelligent and holds grudges. Better not mess with it. Another person pointed out the snake clearly wasn't native and wondered how it ended up on campus. That same night, an anonymous tip revealed the snake was brought into the dorm by a student council officer to prank others. When no one got scared, she reported the incident to school administrators. Fortunately, the falsely accused student had proof it was her doing and avoided punishment. Though the post didn't name names, someone still doxed Erica's identity. That's when I realized Erica had managed to piss off so many people at school. But thinking about it, among all the student council members, she's the only one who can't keep a low profile. She throws her weight around campus, bullying underclassmen with her student council authority. Everyone in the comments is calling Erica irresponsible for releasing the snake on campus instead of in wild, when she was already handling it. If any student gets bitten, Shouldn't she be held accountable? The confession wall is public, and someone leaked this incident. Outside the school, Erica got called in by the school and was questioned why she didn't release the snake farther away or call the forestry department to handle it. Things have gotten out of hand now. The school will most likely give her disciplinary action. Erica came back from the teacher's office looking gloomy and went straight to bed. She took out her phone only to find it dead. So, she fumbled under her pillow. A few seconds later, she let out a scream. A mangled, bloody rat was flung out just as Jasmine and the others walked in. The rat splat right onto her face. Then came another ear-piercing scream. I only sauntered in after the 3 dorm mates had finished screaming, casually asking what happened. Jasmine's face turned ghostly pale, her voice still trembling. A dead rat. Erica's entire face was ashen. How did this thing get in our dorm? Who put it here? She stared straight at me. Before I could speak, Jasmine pointed at the rat. Looks like something gnawed on it. Erica, was it that snake you set free? Is it getting back at you? How could this be? Erica gasped in disbelief. It's just a snake, a mere animal that couldn't possibly understand human speech. Erica refused to believe the little white snake was responsible, yet she couldn't swallow her anger either. She scoured every security camera feed, determined to uncover who was behind this prank. But after 2 hours at the dorm supervisor's office, she came up, completely empty-handed. Nobody entered our dorm the entire time we were out. Our dorm is on the first floor. After staring for a while, Jasmine suggested someone might have climbed in through the window. Erica had to check the outdoor surveillance footage, where she actually saw a white snake carrying a dead rat slithering into our room. She instantly felt a chill down her spine, turning to look at me. It's you, Leora. You incited the snake. It's deliberately getting revenge on me. I shrugged. Erica, are you out of your mind? It's just a snake. Do you really think it understands human speech? Erica wanted to pin this on me, but she had no proof. In the end, it just fizzled out. From that day on, animal carcasses started mysteriously appearing on Erica's bed. Terrified, she had no choice but to go home and lay low. Erica thought returning home would solve everything, but the next day, she showed up at our dorm with police officers. Erica filed a police report because the little white snake had somehow pinpointed her home. She just drifted off to sleep that day when she felt something heavy pressing down on her chest. As soon as she opened her eyes, the little white snake's 2 green eyes were staring right back at her. Erica shrieked, sat up, and flung the little white snake off. The little white snake suddenly sank its fangs into her calf. Right after Erica turned on the light, the white serpent somehow slithered out through the window. I live on the 8th floor. That snake must be supernatural. You've got to find it now. Erica looked utterly drained, with dark circles under her eyes and her mental state hanging by a thread. After hearing her story, though finding it utterly bizarre, the officers still brought snake-catching equipment to search the school premises. Erica barged into not just public areas, but every dorm room to check. The commotion drew crowds of students and even prompted school administrators to intervene, citing concerns over the school's reputation. They persuaded Erica to withdraw the police report, promising the institution would handle the snake situation. No, you people, never lift a finger. Erica yelled at the school administrator. You're experts at sweeping things under the rug. I have to find that snake myself. For the administrator turned pale with anger, but seeing she wouldn't be reasoned with, simply let her be. After 2 days of turning the place upside down, Erica actually managed to locate the little white snake. The first thing she did after finding it, marched straight to my dorm to confront me. She slammed the cage containing the white snake in front of me. Her voice hoarse. Leora, are you trying to kill me? I was completely baffled. What do you mean? Erica found the snake by reviewing the surveillance footage while tracking the snake's movements. The cameras repeatedly caught me feeding it. She was convinced I'd told the snake her home address and even put the little white serpent up to leaving things on her bed. Erica screamed at me. Leora, you're downright evil. How dare you pull such a despicable stunt? Don't you fear karma? I scoffed. Erica, your imagination's running wild. Sure, I fed Xiaobai, but only out of pity. It's just a snake, an animal, not some shape-shifting demon. I don't even know your address. How could I possibly have told it? You sent it to stalk me before I could even open my mouth. Jasmine, for the first time ever, spoke up for me. Erica, calm down. You're making this little white snake out to be some kind of deity. It's probably just a coincidence. This was the first time anyone else in the dorm had ever spoken up in my defense. Erica narrowed her eyes. Since when do you get to lecture me? Jasmine straightened her back. We're classmates, not boss and subordinate. Why wouldn't I speak my mind? I'm on the side of what's right. Fine, fine. Erica was seething with rage as she yanked the white snake's head from the cage, gripping it tightly. Whether you put him up to it or not, the snake dies today. The little white snake sensed her murderous intent, its body coiling defensively as it hissed her bared fangs. Erica pulled a fruit knife from her pocket, an exact replay of last lifetime scene. Only this time, I was the one stopping Erica. I clutched her hand tightly, my voice pleading. Erica, calm down. No matter what, it's a life. You can't just kill it. How about we take it to the police station? Get away from me. With a forceful shove, Erica pushed me away and I fell heavily to the ground. I begged her, please, Erica, spare little white. I'll do anything if you just let it go. My heart was being torn apart. Erica's expression turned even fiercer. How pathetic. Leora, is this snake your father or mother? The more you plead for it, the more determined I am to crush your hopes. But in that moment of distraction, the little white snake seized its chance, darting out to sink its fangs into her hand. Erica yelped as the little white snake vanished instantly, just like always. Leora, this is all your fault for ruining everything. Erica snapped, grabbing me by the collar to unleash her fury on me. Just then, the door swung open. The homeroom teacher stormed in and barked, Erica, stop that right now. Erica reluctantly let go and muttered, yes, teacher. Erica, come with me. The homeroom teacher said grimly, the principal wants to see you. After Erica left with the homeroom teacher, I only understood why Jasmine suddenly took my side after checking the school's confession board. Erica's past bullying behavior was recently exposed, and her recent stunt with the white snake further outraged everyone. Some fed-up classmates came forward, revealing Erica bought her student council position by bribing teachers. After gaining power, She also extorted money from students. Under the pretense of clearing their demerit points, the situation escalated until someone reported it to the school administration. School officials were already furious about Erica's police report, putting the school under scrutiny, and launched an investigation. Upon receiving the tip, evidence of bribery was confirmed. Jasmine didn't come forward out of conscience. She only spoke up because she knew Erica couldn't stay at the school any longer. Erica's bribery case was handled swiftly. A week later, the school issued an official notice due to the severe misconduct. The teacher was dismissed, and Erica was expelled. It said that Erica and her family fell to their knees. When the principal announced the decision, she pleaded with the principal for another chance, but the principal was unmoved, simply stating that school rules must be followed. Getting expelled in your junior year of college is a really awkward situation, with only a year left until graduation. Going back to high school to retake exams would mean being 3 years behind. Every path is paved with regrets. Erica's eyes were red as she packed her things in the dorm. She blamed me for all her grievances. Before leaving, she warned me, "Leora, this isn't over." Erica is the vindictive type. I knew she'd retaliate after making those threats. I quit my part-time job at the fried chicken joint that very day. I avoided leaving campus whenever possible, and always rushed home before dark. I lived in constant dread until finally securing grad school admission and graduating. A year passed without seeing the little white snake or Erica again. On graduation day, our class threw a party. After a few drinks, I helped some completely wasted classmates into cabs. With my head pounding, I decided to walk home. 5. I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped out of the bar. Before I could turn to run, a group of thug-looking men blocked my way. I took a few steps back from the masked men in front of me, stammering, "W, what do you want?" "Nothing much. We like what we see." The leader grabbed my wrist. "Come have some fun with us." My heart leaped into my throat as I pulled out my phone to warn them. "Listen, don't you dare lay a finger on me. We live in a society governed by law. I can call the cops on you right now." Before I could finish dialing emergency services, someone snatched my phone from behind. The man chuckled darkly and motioned with his hand, "Take her away." Several men dragged me into the maze of shadowy back alleys. The alley was pitch black and completely deserted. 2 men pinned me against the wall. Just as a third reached for me, he suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream. Screams erupted from all directions. I heard them scream, "Snakes! So many snakes!" Looking down, the alley was teeming with glowing green eyes, the exact same emerald eyes I saw when I died in my past life. They hissed with the excited sounds of predators closing in. My legs gave way, and I collapsed to the ground. A sudden chill ran down my arm as I lifted the object in my hand to inspect it. It was the little white snake. It wriggled ingratiatingly in my palm. Fighting back revulsion, I exclaimed with forced delight, "Oh, Snowy, long time no see. You've become the Serpent King now." The snakes drove the thugs into a corner, and the little white serpent was seething with rage at their actions. Just as it bared fangs to strike, I stopped it. "Wait." Though confused, the white snake retracted its venomous fangs. I stepped forward to confront the men. They dropped to their knees in unison. "Spare us, Serpent King. Have mercy." I fixed my gaze on one of them. "Did Erica send you?" Just as I suspected. Erica rounded up these goons. After getting expelled, Erica spent months moping at home until her parents' nagging became unbearable, forcing her to start job hunting. But without a college degree, she couldn't land any decent corporate job. Left with no choice, she took a waitressing job and fell in with a rough crowd. When she heard I'd secured grad school admission, those old college grudges resurfaced. She paid the thugs $500 to ruin me. My heart skipped a beat when I heard the number 500. If that little white snake hadn't shown up in time, I'd have been done for. These people don't even have $500 to their name. Forget about expecting any decency from them. In the end, I let those guys go. After watching them flee in panic, I bent down to stroke the little white snake's head. Snow, I'm relieved to see you doing so. Well, take your friends and head into the forest quickly. Humans are terrifying, especially Erica. If she could be this cruel to me, she'd never let you live if she knew you were still alive. As I finished speaking, I noticed a subtle shift in the little white snake's expression. It nuzzled against my palm, leaving what felt like a gentle kiss. Then, as if resolving itself, it led the group of snakes away. It was headed straight toward Erica's house. I didn't sleep a wink all night. The next morning, I got up early and went near Erica's place. A crowd had gathered at her apartment complex entrance, with police cars parked among them. Oh my God, it's covered in blood. The whole family's been torn apart by bites. What kind of animal did this? Looks like snakes. But how could so many appear in the city? The incident quickly went viral locally, but was soon suppressed. Local police have issued a notice stating that many snakes have recently escaped from the zoo and are currently being apprehended. Residents are advised to keep their doors and windows shut. A few days later, I received news of Erica's passing. I heard she was still conscious before she died, calling the police and repeatedly telling them there were snakes. So many snakes. By the time the police arrived, all that was left was her body, since the killer was a snake, and nobody actually saw what it looked like. The whole matter was eventually swept under the rug. A few days later, I woke up feeling a weight on my chest. There was the little white snake coiled right over my heart. It seemed to have grown slightly larger, though this time it appeared completely alone. I asked it, "Where are your friends?" The little white snake flicked its tail toward the distance, as if saying they were outside. I understood. It was afraid those snakes might come in and frighten my family. After a moment's silence, gripping the fruit knife tighter, I asked, "Do you want to live with me?" The little white snake paused, then shook its head. It nuzzled against my face, as if saying goodbye. I put down the knife and hugged it. "Go now. Don't come back. The city's no place for you." Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw tears in the little white snake's eyes. It nodded, vanished into the night, never to be seen again.